Right, it's not just Snake and Banter. It's the 100th episode of Snake and Banter. And you know what I can actually almost objectively say? I'm not saying it's the best CS show ever, but I'll tell you what, how many others ever got to 100 episodes? So I think we win over any others. If anyone's only on episode 30, we win. You know what? You can even say all your first 30 were better than our first 30. We just win 70 to 30 then. There you go. That's how maths works. And obviously we need to have a banger guest for this one. A lot of people weren't available, but Sean's here. We've got Sean Gares, the old listen.
Dude, I knew that was too good to be true. When you were saying that, I was like, whoa, Duncan's glazing.
No, listen, I'll do it for real. Obviously, would be North American, I have to put that in the front, North American Hall of Famer in Counter-Strike, legendary Cloud9 in-game leader from the tank top era in the summers, back when, to be fair, again, people might go, you didn't win any tournaments. And he never used to win tournaments back then, unless it was like in a ballroom in Dallas, and then Dazed is like fucking try hard, and as Shoxy's just like, oh shit, did we lose that? Because the fuck's not a real tournament anyway, lol. And then like, so no one won tournaments back then. You have to understand, boys, it was different back then. So he was one of the people leading the way. He even tried to do that thing where, you forget this, you all think it was Skadoodle that had the support op. Sean Gares was the support op. He was the opera in his team sometimes. He was trying to cook.
I was trying to pass that shit off for years.
Right.
Like trying to get Swag to op, trying to get Shazam to op, Skadoodle. It's like, bro, I do not want to op and call strats and throw all the nades. No.
I love it.
Fuck, dude.
And also, if people don't know, I've always said this, Sean, you actually, if you wanted to, almost certainly could have just done analysis. You could have done that if you didn't want to do the Valorant thing, or if you hadn't have considered like doing streaming and all that works. And look, I know at the time maybe you had your family, you didn't want to travel, but like if anyone's ever seen, look, Maui wasn't even around back then, so he can't get his feelings hurt by this. I actually think the best major desk ever is the one we did at Starladder Berlin, mate. That lineup is me, Sean, Sponge, when Sponge is at the peak of his powers, and Machine Host. That desk is fucking... It's unreal, mate. It's actually the best desk ever, I think. And you were.
I loved that desk because we were in the crowd.
It was dope,
it was one of those like good locations, which are kind of rare with the analyst desk at the major.
Absolutely.
I like this desk, by the way, at Blast.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil any points or anything like that, but yeah, I love the desk at this past major.
No, it does make a world of difference, by the way, if you're like at the major, but you're just like in some back hallways somewhere, and then you can just vaguely hear the crowd like in the background, and you're like, I don't even feel like I'm actually at the major. That was dope. We were like actually like coming out into where the crowd was right behind. Oh, it was fucking sick, mate. Yeah, it was awesome. Anyway, enough about when I used to work the majors, and you used to attend them, Sean. Maui actually goes to these motherfuckers nowadays. He's around nowadays. He's in our lodge.
Nah, I'll say honestly, like, I mean, no offense taken on saying that major desk was great, because when I was watching the, I don't know, 2015, 2016 desks, that's when I thought to myself, oh, okay, actually, I could probably do desks in a handful of years here. Like, this isn't all that great. But then that desk, that's a desk that I've actually watched recently. I actually went back in that and watched that one for the Astralis Liquid game. I watched like all the desk segments. Right. All of the game back on that one, just because I wanted to see like, okay, how did this happen in the moment? And it was good. You guys were good. You guys were good back.
Did you enjoy the copium where I just like double down until the very end and then they lose, and then I have to do the like, well, here's what the Charlotte did right, even though I'm just like coping like a motherfucker that Liquid's gonna like come back and win. And then I by the way, I won't even get into this, but I had told the anecdote before that was one of the only times I ever regretted making a prediction, because before Astralis played Team Liquid, I won't say which players, but I was actually, let's say, having a cigarette, as if I smoke cigarettes, but you know, fucking a naughty red-ended cigarette, Sean, one of those ones that, you know, now illegal where you live. I was having one of those outside with some players from Team Liquid. You could guess who, maybe. And I remember saying to them, like, oh, it's going to be so hilarious when you guys beat Astralis. And they were like, what are you talking about, bro? We're not going to win. And I was like, what the fuck?
Crazy.
You haven't even played the game yet. And they all go, no, you don't know though, bro. Like, the boot camp was really bad and the player breaks it. And I was just wanting to go like,
God.
It's not even about the game. You're just motherfucking losers. But don't worry though, I still went out and put my professional reputation on the line, and they would win the game. And they got 2-0, so not bitter at all. not bitter or anything. Fucking hell.
Dude, I didn't know that. I don't think you told me that.
No, it's sick, innit? It makes me sick to even remember it. I feel like I was in NAM or something, I know. Not least because I still then doubled down and did it. Oh, it's a bit like in that Stanislaw one, similar thing, I'll tell you quickly. I mentioned it in the Stanislaw one. When FaZe had that ESL New York where they didn't lose a map and they just but fucked everyone in the tournament. Before they played Liquid in the final, that Liquid that had like Nitro and Stanislaw and fucking Twists and Elise, right? I actually figured out, like, well, everyone's just going to say FaZe is going to win, but that's obvious. But I was like, well, actually, Liquid could get them on like 2 maps, and if you get them on the third, and I looked at the order it was going to come on, BO5, I was like, they could even, this is win. I said, you know what, I'm going to make a hero call. I'll say Liquid could win. But right before we went out to do the final, I was talking backstage to Stanislaw, and then bizarrely, like, Elysia's mom or something was at the event, which, by the way, Joker Steve was coming up like, Thorin, please don't take any photos and make a meme about it. I was like, listen, I'm not fucking an impolite person, except if you fuck with me. I've never made fun of anyone's mom, unless they tweet me on Twitter. Don't ever do that. Don't ever make a Twitter account. Anyone can get it in that sense. But anyway, I was talking to Stanislaw, and I was doing the same thing. I was like, bro, come on. You got to think he can win this one, right? It's their first line, like it's only like their second lineup with the thing. And then he was just got sort of like, because back then, as you find out in my reflection, Stanislaw was a bit of a closed off individual. He was giving me nothing, bro. He had like a perfect poker face, like, yeah, I guess. And I was going like,
so different.
And I was going like, no, but you got to get hyped on this one. Come on, guys. If you guys just hit the ground running, you just beat SK Gaming, they're the number 1 ranked team in the world. You can beat listen, what's FaZe Clan? Like, they're all international. They're not even fucking speaking the same language. They've got to figure out. And he was just going like, man, we'll try. And I'm just going like, I'm putting my fucking name on the line with y'all. Like, you know what? That's where I wish a Stewie 2K was around. Because I'll tell you what, Stewie 2K, the joke is he'd be facing actually the real Primus Strauss and be like, well, bro, we could probably fuck him up or something. Like, it's like, at least give me that energy at least. Give me that NA player. You know what I mean?
Stu's the GOAT. He brings all the confidence.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
We're like 5 minutes in. We already got a Stu's the GOAT line. Let's go. This is already a good podcast.
Yeah. Thorin here. Before the show starts, let me just tell you about the wonderful Into the Air 4th of July sale that is running at this point in time. I'm wearing a wonderful Into the Air shirt, sort of a pastoral Japanese design there with the red sun over here. I have that really cool Neo Tokyo one. If you like print shirts, I find the quality's really high quality. They wash really well. They're nice and stretchy, breathable, lovely. I like actually the makeup of them. They don't feel all horrible. I also think the bundles they have are awesome. You can get like 3 print shirts for like $62 or something like that. You can get 3 plain ones. I have like a really nice heavy white one that I like to wear if I go out raving, etc. Just really sturdy. You get 3 of them for like 50 something. If you use our code, you get 10% off intotheM.com/LFN. So actually, on those bundles, you could get 10% off the prices I just listed. And if you go on their website as part of their 4th of July sale, it's site-wide, items are listed up to 60% saving. So if there's an item that is 60% saving and you use intotheM.com/LFN, you will get 10% more. You will get 70% off that item. I think they're really nice t-shirts. Now that I've switched to them and they've sent me so many of them, I have a hard time going back to normal t-shirts and just feeling that normal thing against me. I want the lovely, comfortable, smooth Into the M with its cool, sleek designs. Shout out to anyone who goes ahead and goes to intotheM.com/LFN and saves at least 10% off some awesome merch. They've got all sorts of gear on their site. And of course, if they ask who sent you, please say Last Free Nation or Snake and Banter. Now on with the show. Right, I always say there's one thing to say at the beginning of the episode though, which is this. Just because Sean's back, he's not totally back yet. Like, one, he does literally still work in Valorant. Like, he hasn't abandoned the game. He's not doing listen, I'll look both ways. He's not doing a DDK, pretending like, oh, hey guys, love CS. Can I have all the gigs again? Like, oh, where were you? Oh, you came back with those cigarettes, Dad, did you? Well, now I'm fucking 12, aren't I? I somewhat resent you at this point in time. You're going to have to win my affection over now, aren't you, motherfucker? I don't care you bought a fucking Super Nintendo Entertainment System. You're going to have to fucking have a few fucking powwows and birthday parties. And, let's get it together before we just come back. Sean's actually politely coming back, and he even did tell me, look, he watched most of the major because he was obviously co-streaming it, but he doesn't watch every tournament, and he's not like, put it this way, if Maui does that thing Maui is want to do, where he's like, I think the Amiga should change this, but he's going to be out shit out of luck, isn't he? He's not watching it. He's not watching those teams. So just understand that going in. We're not making the stakes too high, which can have a fun episode, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not trying to hide the fact that I don't know everything. I've been playing a lot of Premier and Face It though.
Okay.
For some reason, I have no rank decay, which is
okay.
Nice.
Honestly, I'm just level 10 playing against semi-pros right now. I'm just what is happening? No, it's not going too bad though. Actually.
Is it hard?
Actually,
people say you have to frag in this game, mate. Is it hard?
I actually really like the mechanics in CS2.
Okay.
I know that is maybe sacrilegious to say right now, but I like the aggression and the pace of this game. Now the smokes do stall you out, obviously, but there's a lot of little gimmicks that you can kind of abuse around the smokes, which is what I was noticing a lot in the major. These like little 2-player like teamworky plays to fuck with the smokes. I really like it. I like the new dimensions of the game. Like I do. I think even the map pool, which is interesting. Didn't they just announce they're getting rid of Mirage?
Was that actually formally in it? I saw someone make a post like Messi also said something. Was it formally in the post that they're removing Mirage? I don't know. I think he just said they're going to tweak the active dupe, but I didn't read the post yet. That's the problem.
Oh, it's just an assumption.
I think he might have meant like I hope it comes out. I think he said I hope they put cash and overpass in, but I never actually read the post yet, so I don't know. I can't speak on that, I'm afraid. And I assume Maui also just woke up. He is literally in like Hawaii or something right now, so we're going to give him.
I am in Hawaii.
We're gonna give him even though normally he has to go. I'm not really there, but now he is actually for real in Hawaii. He is.
Rarely, but yes, yeah, I am in Hawaii right now.
Are you on the Big Island?
No, I didn't. No, I'm on Oahu.
All right.
Oahu.
See, that's I don't even know anything about Hawaii. I just know you say that question like, are you on the Big Island? That's all I know. I don't even know what the Big Island is.
Maui is literally an island, and you didn't ask him if he's on Maui. It's crazy.
I don't know shit. As far as I know, that's not even a real country. It's like a volcano that like overflowed, and then people just moved onto it and started living there. It's like, I don't know. Listen, we've been thousands of years on my block. Rock up to England sometime.
It's just a character voiced by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Actually, that's really what it is. Okay. Now.
Actually, true.
Listen, to be fair, I actually do think if they did make a movie of CS or esports, you would be played by Jack Black or Kevin Hart. You could
Jack Black.
Yeah,
hell no, hell no. What the hell?
I'm just fucking with you. I'm just fucking with you, man. It's all good. It's all good.
You know, when I was first doing events, Twitch chat always said I look like Mario Lopez.
That's not bad.
All right.
I sort of. And he did. And in the outfit you're wearing right now with your hair slick like that, it also just looks like it, doesn't it? He's got it, hasn't he?
Wait, isn't that the guy who plays AC Slater?
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's AC Slater. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Obviously, Sean would be more like Zach, whatever his name was, the fucking main character. I'll be Screech, I guess, in this analogy, whatever. I would have said Screech is more pimp, but I'm just mean like that. Luckily, Pimp's dead. She probably never saw that show. Why not? Fuck it, he can be Screech. It's him or Dust. Again, love them all, but I tell you what, I'm honest about who they are. I'm not pretending like they wouldn't get Kelly Kapowski, I'll tell you that right now. They'd get whatever that third chick was.
Why is everyone catching a shot?
That's what this show is, bro. It's Snake and Banter.
That's how it goes. That's just how it goes.
Exactly. That's just what this show is, mate. But I swear, when we did the episode where we had Magic on, we just won the major. Like, we had to try our hardest, not just like fucking roast him, basically. Like, Andy was trying to understand stuff through his, like, you know, not as advanced English. So, like, essentially, I just don't think you'd ever seen an episode, Sean, because probably even 2 episodes before, we were probably all like, you should probably cut Magic. He is shit at the game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but then he just came like, hey, it's Magic. He's won the major and that. How you doing, mate? Oh, fucking great game in the final. Ah, fucking, I hope they keep you at that. Get the fuck out. Whatever.
Dude, when we get into the fuck it, I'm just
just start. Go on, start with your point.
Can I just start? Yeah,
let's do it.
Can I start with like the good?
Yeah.
Okay. So like the whole fan experience of that major was like incredible. Like from someone I haven't followed along every tournament. I watched some of the big ones. I watched the first CS2 major, and that was fucking cinema. I'm not gonna lie. The Alexi win, that was insane. And this whole experience, just like how Blast ran the tournament, the desk, the storylines, the casters, the crowd, it was amazing. Like, I'm not going to lie, it was one of the most enjoyable experiences throughout the playoffs. And, you know, like the lack of countdowns, random countdowns, you know, like I feel like that's very prevalent in Valorant is the break countdown.
Right.
Whereas in Counter-Strike, these TOs, the tournament organizers, need to churn a profit. They're not the fucking developer. So they're filling those gaps to keep people in the streams.
Oh, no, you mean it's just a countdown in the corner, isn't it? You're just seeing like 10 minutes till we're back or whatever, and they're playing content and shit. Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, there was so little time where I was like filling with random shit that I normally save for these co-streams. And it was just like, I could enjoy the whole thing. And the desk, like I was saying, bro, I thought you crushed it, Maui. I liked whenever any team lost, it wasn't about, by the way, it was never about the team winning. It was always about the team losing at first, which is so fire. Like, no one was safe on those teams, man. Like, no mother.
Oh, yeah. You have to remember as well, Sean is in Valorant where you don't lead with the flame. You have to sort of like fucking glaze a little bit, right?
No, most of the people don't flame at all, actually, in Valorant. Like, unless you're someone with like immense credibility. Because like if one of these pros comes at you, they're going to cook you publicly.
Yeah,
like the community will always side with the pro. So a lot of the broadcast talent in Valorant probably don't have the pedigree to do that. But in CS, you guys have been around so long that you can just talk freely like that. And I appreciate that shit.
Sure.
I fucking love it as an ex-broadcast, still broadcast out technically, and then just ex-player. Like I just appreciate being told how
Sean, it's the 100th episode, so I have to just push back a second. You love it now because you've worked as a desk analyst. You know what I'll tell you what, Sean, you know this, mate. No. I've said some things on some desks, if we did go back 10 years, that Sean Gares and Cloud9, the team, did not fuck with. There was times where, listen, I didn't even know it sometimes, because I was just machine gunning takes or whatever. There's times I've rocked up with these guys, put it this way, Sean Gares is normally like a teddy bear, mate. He was like that bear at the fucking Revenant or something. He was trying to kill me.
Dude, I wish I could I actually was super mad at you at that Ohio tournament when you were in the front of the van and I was in the back just chirping at you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Should I tell you that story? You know what? Here's the thing. We're all friends now, so it's all good. Basically, right, one time, I don't even know what I said, by the way. It'll just been something like that they're overrated.
No, I know.
So I can't. What was the setup? Do you remember? What did I say?
So it was a tweet you made, and it probably is still there.
Okay,
and it
probably.
was basically Sean Gares and nothing are pussies for the way they cut Semphis.
Okay.
You literally just straight up called us pussies. Okay. And so it set this narrative in the community. Yeah. It set this narrative that we like rat cut Semphis.
Okay.
When in reality, that week, so after that major, we did that paintball shoot in Southern California, which is actually where I kind of hit it off with my wife. We ended up going to Vegas like on the spot because the team was kind of like in a weird spot. And I just kind of wanted to think things through for like a week before we made any like decisions. I also wanted to give the players on the team time to think through what their thoughts were. And while I'm there, the team is coming to me and we decide, we're going to remove Semphis. And was that Shazam too?
I think Shazam as well, yeah, because they had that bad line with the bad ESE or whatever, right? And then the major too.
And that's when we added Freak and Skadoodle.
Yeah, that was the mega lineup, yeah.
Yeah, and it honestly wasn't something that we really knew. We weren't like discussing it. Right. But I think it somehow got to you that we were kind of ratting around.
I probably had someone just say that. It was probably the rumor or something by the other players or something. You know how the scene is. And
so I was just so pissed because I don't really care about all the in-game stuff, but you came up my character at the time. I was like, what the fuck?
Okay. Like, listen, here's where I'll pick it up though. So here's what happens, Maui. Right, I'm at this event, one of those like CVOs at like fucking which was in Columbus, Ohio, because it was the MLG studio. By the way, it's quite a cool place to go. Actually, I know people are going to think like, oh, Ohio. No, it's like you're in some like super nice suburb area, mate, with like all sick bars, like really nice, like because it's wide open. Like your hotel room's like a fucking apartment, mate, with like a cooking area. So back then it was fucking bold. It's like 2015 or something, mate. So anyway, we come into this apartment, right, and the next day when I'm going to the studio, it's one of those ones where they just tell you there's the talent, like when your pickup times, but you don't know who's going to be in the shuttle. So I come down and it's like in the literally the only people for my shuttle, Maui, is me and then the entire team of Cloud9 CS that, again, I've just made this tweet about. So look, I don't even know that this is affected anyone. I don't know that. Listen, I'm not actually arrogant enough to think if people say all my tweets. So I just rock up. And at the time, I used to actually have quite a good relationship with Nothing and Sean. So I was just like, all right, boys. And no joke, Sean was just said something mental like, don't you fucking say hello to me or something mad, right? So anyway, the guy goes, hey, get in the shuttle now, we need to go. I get in, and again, because it's a whole team, I obviously let them take the back of the shuttle, don't I? And I get in with the driver, Maui. Big mistake, because now I can't like look around, can I? My neck will be fucking straight the whole time. So I have to sit there, right? And just look in that like driver's mirror if I can. And Sean is not just going off the whole time from this back seat, right? Going, fucking, did you say this? But then he even keeps saying, you can't even look at me, can you? You can't, and I'm going, I literally can't. I can't even turn around, like they'd be insane to me. And he just was going off. And all you need to know though is this is how legit Sean is. I never said shit in that, because in that moment I also know, by the way, actually how pros are. You just let him vent, like it's okay. You can let him get it off. It's all good. I've said my shit. You say your shit. When we got away, I never even said anything to him. Never said like fuck you or anything. And then when I actually you got home that night to my apartment after the day, there was just like a fucking novel, like the length of the Bible in my DM. Like, I'm so sorry, mate. You know, I was on edge. I understand, you know, the scenes. Like,
I was so tilted.
So it was okay. It was all good after that. It's all just a funny anecdote now. There's no hard feelings at all.
That's fucking when
I've never seen you that mad, though. I've never seen you that mad, bro. It's insane.
Yeah, my team got that quite a bit back in the day. They were the ones getting all that. People always reference that Rick's clip, and I'm like, I'm not even tilted.
No, mate, it's my favourite clip ever. Is that
That's such a good one.
The ESL Pro League you made the final of was that one they released all the POV VODs with all the fucking comms on it. And there's a round in the final against Fnatic on Cobblestone where you go like, don't buy, and then nothing's like, I just bought a Galil. It's like, and you go mental, mate. 'Cause it's like, we're in the final right now against Flag. Like, by the way, the number one team, like greatest team of all time at that point. It's like, you're fucking just buying shit like it's fucking Pog or something. Because listen, the thing about nothing is he could sometimes be a bit absent-minded, let's just say. Maybe he also enjoyed those little red cigarettes, you know, but I was fucking around with at that major. Who knows? That's neither there. I think he's pretty much confirmed he has. If you haven't seen his Instagram, he definitely does. Anyway, back to the major. So the major was great. What did Sean? Keep going.
No, he doesn't.
I don't even know.
That's crazy.
Listen, anything said on this show is not any reference to any real person or likeness of any character stated. Okay. It's all an act. It's like wrestling. It's kayfabe. It's all just an act. It's all an act. Anyway, what else about the major? Exactly. That was like you were talking about how raw we are on the desk. Is there another aspect to what you liked?
I mean, the games were insane. Like, I really enjoyed the games. I liked just watching and learning all these little weird gimmicks. Like I mentioned, I think I was watching Vitality, and just them leaving the triple nades on ramp for Apex was fire.
Sure.
You know, watching them on Mirage, I think, when they were like tapping the window smoke for Zywoo to like op a guy through that little gap, I was like, this is crazy. Obviously, there's a lot of like cool refresh smokes that people are throwing from like all over the place. But I think like that type of shit was really cool. Dust 2 plays out so different. So just seeing how that was playing out was super interesting to me.
By the way, it must be a mindfuck if you're coming from old CS that those doors are reversed on B now. It's so weird, isn't it, for the retakes?
Wasn't it like that like a super long time ago, one of the old CSs?
Maybe. But yeah, but it's so weird from CSGO though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's 1.6. I think 1.6 was like that. I think you're right.
Yeah. But you can smoke that shit from like spawn now. Like I was watching so much crazy shit that I learned. Like I learned so much crazy macro stuff in those weeks watching the major. Just like all these different play styles that these teams are running. I mean, after the major, I decided I'm going to create the flex role for me myself. You ready for this? Okay. I'm going to get the entries of Donk. This is me, of course. I've got the lurks of Rock. What are you laughing about?
Okay.
Hey, Maui, what are you laughing about?
Yeah.
You're gonna revive NACS as an individual.
Yeah.
I'm an individual.
One-man team.
Zywoo's up, and I'm gonna IGL. That's it.
This is perfect.
I'm the flex. I'm bringing
the joke there that he didn't even know himself. That was actually a Freudian slip. He should have said the IGLing of Apex. He actually meant old Sean Gares IGLing. So I feel like there's one flaw in your super player there, Sean.
Fucked.
Just take it all. Take it all.
Just take everything.
But leave a little bit of yourself. A little bit of yourself.
I am the most humble ex-player, you know, so I can't take it all.
Humble king.
Fair enough.
Humble genius. Okay.
Yeah, go about
it. I mean, this tournament, first off, is the most exhausted I have ever been after an event. I couldn't believe how tired I was because of a couple different things. But one I think that people may have noticed, it was pretty obvious on the desk, is that when you're doing a segment, you finish like this post-map thing some of the time, and then you actually have to get to the front of the stage to do this final thoughts segment. I don't know if people noticed
like the post-game show.
Broken up. Well, it was actually the way that you led into a game. They would do a pre-desk oftentimes for like 15, 20 minutes. And then you would have a 3-minute break. That's like the only time they're using like the ad break counter time.
But they filled that with content. They had like content pieces.
Yes. Yeah, they would fill it with content pieces, but it was like not live. You know, that's like one of the few moments where it's not actually something that's live that's happening. And then they would send it to the front of the desk or the front of the stage with Freya and 2 analysts. And if you're that guy that has to be, or Freya. Like I'm gonna say this, Freya was a massive trooper for this event. Like it was kind of unbelievable. Like she did every death segment. She had to move for almost every death segment. She was like going around in like heels too, oftentimes,
Okay.
like all through the entire arena. And I'm gonna tell you that walk is not easy. Like the Moody Center is a 15K capacity arena. And when we're doing that shot in the concourse where it's all of us on the desk together, that's on the very top third floor.
Right.
And then that shot in front of the arena is like all the way at the bottom. So we're like literally we're in the nosebleeds for that desk segment to start. And then we're actually in front of the actual players when we're doing that segment 3 minutes later. So Freya is like busting her ass, and the other analyst that has to get down there. We're all hauling ass to just get to the very front. And then we're giving like, hot takes or like big storylines, things to look out for, like watch for this in the map. Like, we're trying to give these final thoughts while also trying to catch our breath, except for Pimp. Obviously he's done
100K on the bike already that day. Yeah.
Yeah. He's actually saying that we need to make this harder on everybody. He wants to sweat a little bit more, but no, it was that those parts were tough. And on top of that, we're right by the concourse where all those fans were behind us for parts of those segments, but we're also right by the door. So that Texas heat is like, I don't know what it is, Celsius, like 30, 34 degrees Celsius. That's and humid.
Yeah.
And it is like, we're burning up, like for Americans, like it's basically like,
you're wearing a suit,
like 90.
Yeah. Cause you guys were all dressed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're wearing a suit, shirt, everything. I mean, I'm glad we were in Texas so I could just wear this like bolo tie, because if I wanted to wear a real tie underneath that, like I would have died. I would have just died. So, but I'm gonna say the payoff from watching some of the segments back, I was like, that is worth it. It's all worth it. Like I don't even mind.
Good.
Yeah, the visual flair of it, the way that it kind of spun, like instead like a normal desk segment before a game goes live is just two guys on the desk with Freya or three, and then we just give our thoughts, and then 3-minute break, or even just throw to casters.
Well, you had a lot more space on this one. I did notice, because when I was like doing like the pregame for a live shot, I'd be like, I have like 40 minutes.
Like an hour pre-show,
it's legit.
An hour pre-show where you guys actually were like super macro and then zoomed in like very micro by the end. It's like, dude, this is everything I would dream of in like a broadcast. Like as someone that's worked all these broadcasts over these years, I thought it was so incredible. Even I didn't get a chance to glaze the exit interviews. Holy fuck.
Sure.
Or like the mid BO3 interviews that they were doing in the playoffs. Yeah. That was fire, dude. Every map, there was some maps they didn't do it. I don't know why. Why did they not do like those interviews?
They wouldn't do it if everybody just rejects it.
Right.
Like, I think that sometimes the players and coach would just be like, nah, we're not. For whatever, they almost just turn them down in that very moment, because it's mostly losers. It's mostly losers if they're just so upset that they lost that last map, and then they're just like, I'm not going to stick around for this. So I don't know what the contracts are for players and their media obligations in those kinds of moments, but I'm thinking that they actually were able to say no to that. But anytime they did it, it paid off so hard. Like it was just
so good,
so much value. Yeah. I honestly, I think a lot of the things when they were brought up at first, I think there was kind of like knee-jerk reactions by us in talent or people that maybe even were just watching the show, where we're like, oh, like what is this like death segment that's like changing from one side to the other? Like, can we just have like one single desk, whatever? It's like, as soon as you watch one of those segments back, you're like, we should be doing this for every tournament, period. Like this is this is just way more interesting to look at, way more interesting to hear. I don't even think people necessarily felt the fact that it didn't have continuity always between who was doing the opening death segment and who sent it to the game right before it, because the moments were just so good. Like technically speaking, like for the grand finals, we all worked it, which seems insane because it's 4 analysts and Freya. But I don't even really think people caught on to the fact that it's like, we changed out who was like on the desk, because it just had so much flair to it that to me it was worth it. Like I don't think that tying up one loose end on of a narrative that someone brought up a map and a half ago is really even necessary or worth, because it's just like we're just so in the moment that the storylines we were creating were so active and live that it to me never felt like, like I couldn't go back to this one thing that I mentioned. I was like, nah, let's just keep the show rolling. And that was truly like a team effort in terms of just like making sure everybody's on point for whatever they were asked to do at any given time.
Yeah, I even like how you guys. I've never lived in Texas or anything like that, but you like embrace the Texas culture with like all the cowboy hats on the broadcast and shit. Like even like Rain, the walkouts were fucking incredible. Let me just completely pivot to that. Like when Rain did the walkout with that $500 cowboy hat, that was just insane. That was awesome. Like Banks, but truly like the Banks cowboy hat was fire, but his exit interviews just got so much. I know as an ex-player, like how difficult it would have been to get shit out of me in those moments. I think Banks, Shocks, and I think Trace, Stunna, those are the three I remember doing the exit interviews. Holy fuck, dude. They controlled those interviews so well to like give a compliment to like ease into basically like a harder question about like the person's feelings and what they're going through right now. And the players stepped up like tremendously. Like their interviews and how they were controlling themselves was crazy. Like I was fucking crying with Torsi, bro. Like that guy,
Sure.
that guy won me over. It was insane. And the crowd just, the fuck you Apex chant was just amazing. It was fucking incredible.
The crowd being as lively as it was for the entire thing was a huge buff. I mean, I feel like people, I don't know who had these reservations. If they're new to CS, perhaps they may have thought, well, there's going to be no American players in the playoffs, so like, are the Americans going to even show up? Like, that's never been a problem here. Like, if you are just putting good teams forward, Americans are going to show up. And also, I'm going to be honest, if you're paying $400 for your tickets, also you're probably just going to sit in those seats. Like the Moody Center was not cheap for the people that attended it, and American fans just get so lively and rowdy for practically anything happening because they just want good CS. They don't need it to be like, let's just, like, the contrast is clearly Rio or Brazilian audiences, where if it's not a Brazilian team that's playing there, they're so tribalistic there that they're just not even going to show up. Like 1/3 of the audience is going to be there, even in a major playoffs, like a major grand. Oh my god, don't even take me back to like Rio Grand Finals where it was like outsiders versus heroic. Yep. And then it was just like nobody's even there. It was just like, this is the saddest thing ever for a major grand finals. But like, compare that to Western Europe where it's like Antwerp, or compare it to Austin, Texas, and it's like you don't have to worry. Like, people will be there.
No, I actually also think that's what's whack, is because whenever you point out that like a crowd's insanely biased to like one team or country, some moron will just go, well, of course they are, it's their team. No, that's not how it works in other broadcasts. Like, if you go to the Cologne crowd, it's fucking sick no matter what. The Katowice crowd is sick no matter what. As you're saying, like, all the American crowds have always been good, not least, by the way, because you have to understand American culture.
Not
right?
all of them.
Well, most of them. They're not idiots.
Las Vegas event.
There was just no crowd on that one.
Okay,
if there'd have been people there, though, they would have been enjoying it. There just wasn't anyone at that event. No, the problem is, right, if you know Americans aren't all really Complexity fans. Spoiler, that what they do is they go, wait a minute, Complexity isn't really that good. Fuck it, I'm a FaZe Clan fan. There you go. Fuck it, FaZe till I die. Like, they don't give a shit, mate. They just support winners. That's what America does. That is America, for fuck's sake. Also, I do think as well, the crowd was aided by what you're talking about, those walkouts. Bro, if anyone knows, way back in the day in MMA, there used to be a Japanese organization called Pride that did that type of like a wrestling type of walkout where you'd have like, like the champion would like get lifted on like a fucking elevator from like the guts of the arena, or you'd have some like crazy like WWE type sound, Megatron thing of like, whoa, this guy's here, like, and that was the vibe I got. Like when FaZe got introduced, by the way, that whole place was popping. You'd have thought that was like a fucking K-pop group getting introduced to their fans or something. It was nuts. It's actually why, low key, the only way I think the major would have been better is if FaZe Clan had made some sort of playoff run, because those fans were gonna rock with FaZe so hard, it was fucking nuts, bro. They just were desperate for Synchro to go crazy, weren't they?
The 1v2
the Elise one,
that on Anubis at half, that was incredible. That was the last good feeling they got.
Yeah.
They got one feels good moment.
And I also agree, the desk was pretty good. Like, first of all, Freya is actually someone where people do the same thing with her that they do with Anders, where they act like she's just the same person she was since she first did desk. It's like, she's probably gotten better every single year, and now she's actually like legit mastered her craft. It's why if you ever see me do lists of who should do events, listen, I'm sorry, Shocks can be there and do the odd desk something, or be like an interviewer. You're from League of Legends, love. I'm taking the people who are endemic to CS and work every fucking event. Like, that's who I'm picking to do, man, because I think Freya's technically technical ability is also leveled up. So she's so smooth, the way she throws to people on the desk. I also just love, by the way, she's probably the best host ever at fucking with Pimp, but in a way where it like keeps the broadcast going though. She doesn't do it and it like derails it. She'll like just needle him like a motherfucker on some shit that like she probably knows backstage he doesn't like. It's hilarious. Also, I actually thought there's some really good people on the desk. You had Maui here. He was doing a good job. Even though people flame Pimp, I actually think Pimp sort of found his identity in a way he hadn't a few years ago. He's not quite as harsh. Yeah, now he has like his own edgy takes, you know, but he sort of does it in a way where...
No, I'm not talking about Pimp. I'm saying you're being too positive.
No, watch where I'm going. So I loved Maui. I thought Pimp was fucking awesome. You know what Mouz is? Yeah, listen, you are a fucking caster. Get the fuck off that analyst desk. Why are you taking people's jobs? But you know what? When you're there, you're a lovable guy. I liked you. And that's it. Yep, I enjoyed all those people on the desk. And...
That's...
I'm being positive here. I'm keeping it positive, Sean. I don't want to be negative and don't call anyone out. So I've named all the people I enjoyed on the desk. So anyway, I also do agree, by the way, one thing I will never flame about Blast is their production. I flame PGL for that. Blast production is actually really good. If people don't know, the Martin Sned guy or whatever is actually probably the best producer in esports. I think ESL has the best events, but I think that producer guy is a guy, I think, from actually like Danish Sport or something. He's really good. Yeah, and he is working like in one of those real, like, you know, TV production trucks where he's pressing all the fucking buttons and stuff. So whenever you see an amazing production like that, he's the guy doing that. It's why I always tell people, the reason it's such a meme that everyone flames like Prius when he used to work the events in Sapphire, it's like, they don't pick when it's on them, you idiot. They just observe and the producer chooses between the cameras. They don't really miss the kill. That the producer was on the wrong one. Like, this guy nails it. They're actually the hidden people no one knows do this job because their name doesn't get shown on screen. And then I also do think, look, the one part that even felt like it could fuck up and it didn't was they brought out a brand new overlay for the fucking major. That is a crazy gamble, guys. Like, one problem with overlays is... You have to be used to them on the screen because it's like the HUD in the game. You don't really look, do you? Your brain's supposed to just know, like, quickly to check, like, score, health, and right? When you bring out a new overlay, we all used to that ESL one, the classic one on the sides, and theirs was along the bottom, if you remember. Now, all I'll say is, the reason why that's always a gamble is people will always flame it at the beginning because you're not used to it. You haven't actually ever figured out if it's good or not. I'll just say this. By the end of the event, I forgot it was on. Like, it was good. Dude, it was intuitive.
It was insane.
Yeah,
I agree with you completely. Like any CS player, I am allergic to change. And when I first tuned into the broadcast, after not watching CS, and I'm just seeing a bunch of face pictures, I'm just like, this is fucking awful. Like, give me the numbers. But by the playoffs, I was like, man, this is great. Now you know who everyone is. Like, I know their faces. It's building their brands, and I'm becoming more familiar with them as players. This is like actually goated. Like, this is incredible. And they put like Fallen with the bad Fallen sunglasses on. I was like, what a change. Like, I loved it. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think I would like it. So I actually appreciate you bringing that up because that was one of those things they won me over on. And
then also the last thing is they've always had this at Blast, but believe it or not, a lot of analysts, it's only me and Maui seem to like this, a lot of analysts actually don't like the Blast radar, where it's the faces, not the numbers. I think it's 100 times better. I already know what these people look like. I love being able, that's Donk. I don't want to go, that's number 7, shit, is that, oh fuck, that's Magic. It's like, that always takes me out of it. So I love the Blast ones. We tried to do that for Flashpoint, I think. That was always one of my favourites. The one thing I will disagree with Maui on, though, is when he liked that thing where it's like, and then on the finals, they were cycling us all in. Maui, my sweet summer child. You might like that because you're still trying to be friends with all these motherfuckers. You're still like, hey, it's a team effort. Listen, I've told everyone this a million times. The best people do the final and the rest look on and think how they can improve and get to that level. If you got 5 analysts, someone's the 4th and 5th best analyst. We're not all the best. Now, if that's me, great. I'll watch from the fucking wings and I'll plot the demise of someone on that desk in a video game. But I tell you what, if I'm number 1, you better not fucking pull me off that desk and put some other guy on there. So go, hey, you have your turn. It ain't communism. This isn't fucking Soviet Russia, Sean. This is the USA, motherfucker.
Wait, why me? Why me? What?
Listen, because Maui's trying to lean into that Hawaii thing. I don't know how much he's a patriot of being American. Maybe he's some separatist. I don't know what's going on in his head in his politics. To me, you're the true blue. You came out with a fucking American flag once, maybe. Did you? I don't know. Did you? Did you ever do that?
I don't even know.
You probably did at some point. You probably did.
Probably.
Bit of a boomer in that sense. Whatever. Anyway, I don't like that part. Because actually, that's also, if anyone's ever watched Dota, one thing I hate about the International, they do that at the International. In the finals and the last playoffs, they try to get every single casting duo and analyst on the desk in different, like, after. So you'll have like a BO5 that's just changing between maps. Maui might be fine with that. Because he's like, oh, yeah. And also, he's thinking, well, fuck, what if I'm not number top 3? I want on the desk. I just ride or die it. Listen, if I'm on the whole thing. If I'm not, great. Fuck off. You can enjoy it without me. So that's the one part I did. But I'm a good. I like the rest of it. It was good. It was a banger major.
Yeah. Speaking of the flags, I was thinking that at some point I was like, man, I wish they could bring out the flags like they used to. But someone in my chat told me they banned that.
There's a reason why, Sean. There's two political conflicts in the world where if either of those flags appear, it's the end of the world.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, that's the downside. Even though it used to be a thing, obviously, back in the day. But
it used to be so cool. Because especially when I saw like the Brazilian teams not come out with like the Brazilian
they
flags,
obviously would have. Yeah, of course.
I was like, fuck, dude.
In fact, I'll even go one further. I'll even guarantee, I'll predict what would have happened if they'd have allowed flags. Fucking Yakinda, who was from Latvia, he would have had a Brazilian flag like, hey, look, guys, I'm on the team. You totally love it. I'm Brazilian too. It's like, listen, mate, we've all done things for a job, but fucking hell, mate, have some dignity. Now, running first to get your head banged off so I can get the 3K. Fucking hell.
Oh, dude, that team was actually the one team where the like mini-map thing fucked me up. K Serrato and Yuri, like, I think they both have glasses and blonde hair or something.
Oh, when it's really small, I could see it. Yeah, true.
Well, you're used to seeing this.
And also, Yuri was really good too, so you couldn't even tell which one was which in that sense either, could you? You know, normally you just go out to one, get all the kills. That probably gets her out of 5DS, you know. And then I won't even make, it's not even, now he's just a good player. I don't even have to make the other joke about Yuri and why he's distracted all the time. Look it up online, check Instagram. So anyway, he's a good player now. It's not a problem anymore. That's all fine. It's not a problem anymore. Public figure, public information, allowed to make any jokes. Right, anyway, that was like a 30-minute, just Sean Gares' good point. So I hope we're going to get this show done. So to be fair, it was a big point though. So Maui, what is your good point?
Yeah, I'm really happy that we're getting an era established here in CS2. I really want it. I don't know if I necessarily wanted it to be Vitality, but in general, I think that it's good for the game for there to be a dominant team, because first and foremost reason is that in the beginning of CS2, I'm glad that Sean has been playing it lately, because at the beginning, I don't think people were in love with the mechanics, myself included. I feel like it felt very janky, the way that op flick shots felt, the way that, I don't know, movement just felt kind of like you get caught on shit a lot more. Like the clipping was pretty bad. I feel like spraying in general only recently got that really good change where it just feels way smoother now than it did because of some guy on Reddit. But like the way, like the fact that Vitality in an MR12 CS2 can have an era of over 30 best of threes, BO5s on that win streak is really good to just prove that there can be consistency. It might not come from the source that everybody wanted it to, where it's like perfect tactics all the time, perfect teamwork. Like there is a big emphasis on individuals calling their own numbers on that team, but sometimes that's just how it needs to be done. And they've kind of paved the way for what is the best way to play Counter-Strike in today's era. I mean, to their credit, they do also play very well on the fly off of each other, such that they're not going to just be taking bad duels. Like people don't take bad risks on Vitality almost ever, but it just is like the right amount of risk versus reward in so many of the plays that they go for. And for Vitality to be establishing this now instead of everybody last year kind of nipping at the heels of a Navi team, which kind of in some way felt like it was going to fall apart once other teams upgraded or kind of caught up to them. Now it's a Vitality team that you got to catch up to their players, which is probably the hardest part, but you also have to catch up to the fact that they're not too shabby tactically either. Like they're doing a lot of great stuff in terms of using the most meta utility. They're trying to always upgrade their playbook. They call practically like every single strat. Like they run through like the entire gamut of strats on every single map. Like if you do not know when you're going to get hit by a random quicker B hit, or you're going to have to play against a slow default with them. Like they do absolutely everything to an A plus level. So for Vitality to be establishing an era, I think this is really good, because it's been in my eyes, since Astralis. I know that there's like an argument that FaZe had an era, but in my eyes, I think Astralis' era was the most clearly defined for my liking. And so to see another one that's starting to rise up here, I think it's a good point. I think it's good for Counter-Strike.
I agree. I think it's so good. I see a lot of haters like, oh, it's so boring knowing what team is going to win.
Okay.
But I actually feel the opposite way. I feel like having a dominant team in a game, one, proves that, like you said, you can have consistency. There's not so much variance that you feel like the game is random. Like, you don't want a different winner every tournament that you can't predict. That's not fun. You want the level of variance that the major kind of offers. That's why this is going to be a little bit of a hot take for Duncan, but I actually like the single elim playoffs.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like, it feels like very NFL-y. Like, you play this whole season, you end up in like a good spot in the playoffs, and there's a level of variance. There's just one game. Like, you might be playing in shit weather conditions. You might be playing against a red hot team. Your quarterback might throw 4 picks that day. And I like that a lot, because it gives the underdogs a chance. And it also allowed Vitality to show some insane levels of resilience. Like, I was so impressed by how they were closing out these fucking series and playoffs.
Oh,
that was
sure.
insane. But that's all I got for that.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
First of all, Maui he forgot to promote it, didn't he? He actually did a video, and then like it's linked with an article for Skin Club about this topic, about like Vitality's had an era or whatever. And in it, he references a video I made in 2019 where when Team Liquid was like, did they have an era, didn't they? I did a video where I sort of reviewed it. Because if people don't know, I actually coined the concept of the era in CS. Not the concept of the word era. Obviously, that existed in English and just means a period of time. But like the idea that an era is like you were the dominant team of this period and you should sort of be remembered in history. That isn't just like 2015. That's the Fnatic era. That isn't just 2018. That's the Astralis era. It's like a way of like putting a through line in the same way as you have like the great pound for pound fighter in the UFC, reigns for a few years. So I came up with that idea. But as you can imagine, I'm going to do a whole video on this. It started as a very loose idea. It was just sort of like, holy shit, Fnatic's really good. And then by the time we got to Astralis, it was like, when does it get defined though as an era? Like when did I decide it was an era? So then we started to formalise it a bit more. And as usual with everything cool you come up with, everyone else in CS just goes, actually, yeah, that's not the way that works. And they just tell you all the fucking ways it works apparently. And go, yeah, it's really interesting. No, it's nice. Oh, tell me how it works. Oh, go ahead, tell me. So anyway, when they do all that, everyone else started coming up with all these weird arbitrary rules, right? So I will say, if you do go and watch Maui, yes, I did make a video. In 2019, that was 6 years ago, I have had a few thoughts rattling around the old fucking tin can head since then, you know. I believe it or not, I'm not
That's
actually...
like the most definitive video you made on
it. It is, though.
Yeah,
it is pretty, true. You're right, but I should probably have just done an update as well after all the other eras as well. You know,
you got to make an update to our discussion.
So I'm going to anyway. But anyway, it's not as strict as that. Like a lot of that was more like comparison and contrast, you know, of like which ones are the eras, where's the cutoff if we're comparing them all. Because I was trying to use the logic that like the same criteria should apply to all the eras. That's why, for example, in that video, famously, I actually I retract the SK era, and not just because they're Brazilians and all that fucking classic Thorin and Banter. It actually, if you look, listen, 2 majors is awesome, but they didn't have much else aside from that. And actually, they had a load of tournaments where they were in semis and finals they didn't win. So basically, I do spoiler. You seem to frame it in that video of like, I don't think it's an era, which is a weird take because I even said like, you could even debate, even without winning this major, it could be an era, mate, because they just never lose a series. Like, nobody can fuck with them. Like, if anything, them not losing the major, them not winning the major would have been the storyline, not anyone else winning the major. Like, you know what I mean? So to me, I think second they won that major, they definitely had an era. I think they probably have one of the best eras, mate.
No, my take is that actually Vitality could have still had an era depending on how the second season went.
Yeah, exactly.
If they lost here. But I wouldn't put a punctuation mark on them having an era if they lost this major.
No, I'm saying if they come back and they win a Cologne, or, you know, they just keep the streak going outside of the major, I think you'd still have to say it was there. You'd look at this year and the main story of Vitality and how much they dominated. And also, you can't get much more dominant than never lose a fucking series no matter what. And in fact, someone even put this stat on Reddit, you might have seen it. Sometimes teams take Vitality to overtime, Sean, and then they always win. So you just can't beat these motherfuckers. Like, they're just impossible to beat. I don't know. I think it is an era for shit. And also, you look at the stats.
100%.
These are the greatest stats you've ever seen. Like, by the way, 34 best of 3, best of 5 in a row is better than NIP 87-0. Because NIP was doing it at like, for example, there are lands they did that at, bro, that were like a Swedish land. You don't know any of the players there. There was a one that's in Germany where in the finals...
it's the Wilt Chamberlain 100-point game.
Yeah, there was...
He's dunking on me and Maui.
There was a final. There was a final they won where they literally beat Natu and Narsu, those old 1.6 players, in a Finnish team in the final. Like, that's not like playing every BO5s. Like, right, there's the Falcons super team. There's Mouse Sports. Semi-finals beat Spirit. You know what? Team of the year last year, Navi. I take them on too. Like, this is impossible what they've done. I think that is the best streak in the history of Counter-Strike. 34 series in a row. By the way, it hasn't even finished yet. And then even Astralis wasn't doing that, guys. They would still drop like every 2 tournaments. They'd drop a tournament and come third or something. Then they've won 7 lands in a row. And remember, they don't attend those PGLs. They just attend all the best lands where everyone else is gunning for them and they just win them all. They win them all, mate. And then also, if you want to look at I agree with you. It's not that they're the most tactical team ever. By the way, they're not even necessarily the most skilled team ever. I actually push back on anyone who says this is a super team. No, people like Mezzy and Flames wouldn't be in a super team. People wouldn't have picked Apex as the greatest IGL. But the fucking blend of their players together and the style, that I agree with you, they cover all the bases, mate. They have the up-tempo, like, aggro rounds you'd want from, like, a FaZe. They have, like, some slower rounds. Mate, if it's a team, by the way, that has, like, nerves on stage, they'll definitely slow the game down and fucking punish you and play some, like, old-school CS. They also have, by the way, some fucking sick mid-round reads too. Does help when you have Rops in your team, by the way. He's like the ultimate fucking closer for that shit.
Exactly.
And super lurk where you can't possibly ever flank him. He's just impossible, isn't he? And then you look also at their players. I don't do the Astralis thing where I say they have all the 5 best players in their roles. I do think they literally have 3 of the best players in their roles. I think Zero is the best, like, sniper star. I think that fucking Rops is the best, like, lurker / anchor side close player, and I do think Apex is the best IGL for CS2. I think the CS2 style, he's just got it nailed, mate. He's got the pace right. Dude. His fragging is nuts, by the way. I don't even know how he can frag like
so
that.
Much.
It's mental. In the final, he carried
so much shit.
Yeah, he literally carried the final. It's not even a joke.
He was like blocking the yard smokes on Nuke and like controlling yards so well. Like, he was doing so much for that team. In addition to, I think he called so fucking well. He brought so much confidence to the team. He kind of does that thing where it's like us versus the world. And the players just really believe it. He's an incredible player on this team.
Yeah.
I think he's the most valuable piece on the team. And that says a lot. Like, with Rops and Zawu there too. And I think that Mezzy guy really impressed me with his anchoring and shit like that. Like, the whole team is insane. Like, it was a fucking masterclass. Yeah. They're really fucking good.
Right, because they perma Ancient, it's not even a joke. There is no weak map. Like, they don't choose to play Anubis, by the way. People make them, but they still win it anyway. Like, you can't even get them on that map, which, by the way, in theory, that map's supposed to be like rush the site simulator, and if you can hold, then you can fucking win the game. No one can beat them on it. The joke is, even all the teams that play Anubis try getting it, and they just can't get a fucking win. So you can't get a single map off them. You never can win the veto as a result, by the way. Like, good luck. So everyone even goes in. And then lastly, I'll just throw this out there. Maui nailed it. Because they have been so dominant across the board. Like, if you notice, I keep framing it this way, Maui. Everyone else doesn't for some reason. Everyone keeps going, they're the best team now. This is an era. I go, no, you're having the wrong conversation. Is this the greatest Counter-Strike team to ever play? Mate. Like, you have to actually have that convo now. You have to have forget the teams in this era. You have to have the convo. What would they do against Astralis in their peak, the Fanatics, the NIP? That's the real convo. They're shadowboxing history, mate. That's how sick this is. And so I agree. The dopest thing about them dominating, if you go, it's boring, you're an idiot. Them dominating is going to make every one of their rivals do like roster moves to get even sicker rosters. That's the reason why Falcons, by the way, was in all those finals, can't just be like, we'll stick with this roster. It's like, I have to upgrade again. We want to be the best. Like, these guys are just fucking so out front. It's going to make every team do it. It's why this roster mania, it hasn't completed yet, but it's going to be nuts. This is why, even by the way, if you're a fan of people like s1mple, mate, the best argument to get him back in the game is people need, like, to gamble that he becomes really good again, and suddenly they have a weapon to fight against fucking Zemu and people like that. It's actually good for the entire scene that they're dominating. I'm with you. I think it's a bagger. And by the way, for me, it's 100% an era. Absolutely. One of the best as well. That not even like the weakest era, mate. It's one of the best.
For narrative purposes also, like, this actually just wraps things up so nicely for Counter-Strike, because I feel like for the last 4 or 5 years or so, you kind of had like the online era, which obviously is not a real era, is just it kind of threw everything out of whack. Where it really it just fucked up the hierarchy of teams a lot. Where all of these youngsters that were grinding like the tier 2 cups online, grinding face it, they just kind of shot up in the rankings and unseated so many of the elite players that held. I mean, they held domain over practically the entire scene. Like, that's why during the online era, you saw so many of the familiar faces end up retiring, like the Flushas, the Zipnixes. Like, a lot of those guys just couldn't really keep up when everybody's just playing, I don't know, like 120 hours in the past 2 weeks on Steam all the time. But now it feels like it's reaffirming that the best players in the world, there's just a gap between them now. Because for whatever reason, it's just like when it's just like that cycle of Gambit youngsters and like Heroic and like Big Clan are all just sort of like taking blows or like trading blows of being the best team of the week. It just feels like what's even going on here right now? Like what's even going on with like why? And also the Paris Major really messed up my framing of CS2 where I was like, man, like if like 5 underdog teams can make it this deep, like what do we really even know about what the gap between the best teams and the tier 2 teams? Like, is the gap actually shrinking, or like what's even? It's just hard to like wrap your head around all of that. But now it really feels like the hierarchy's established. You got a lot of the best players who are establishing dominance, and then if somebody's coming into the space for sure, like. If there's a new adopter of Counter-Strike, or even a guy that's just like hasn't watched the game for 10 years and he comes back and it's like, okay, what's going on in the esports space? And you say, oh, right now we're kind of in the Vitality era. The best player in the world, Zywoo, is their best guy. It just makes things a lot neater. And then here are all these underdogs that are nipping at their heels right now, or like, they're taking maps off of them, but they're never taking series off. It's so much more engaging. It's so much better for the game and the growth of the game as an esport when people can just latch on to an incredibly easy to understand narrative, even though the hardcore viewer that you referenced earlier, Sean, that's like, oh, like it's boring to see who wins. Like, that's the hardcore fan that doesn't actually love the game. Like, that's the hardcore fan that just wants chaos all the time. Like, they're the guy that's watching every tournament, but they don't actually really know what they want, because if they and there's such a minority, and that's been proven by the numbers so many times, that the guy that says that's like, man, I love Bad News Eagles, is like, you're not actually giving them anything. Like, you're just tuning in for them to make one upset victory once a year. Like, you're not actually watching their games in tier 2, are you?
Yeah, and like Apex playing the fucking card like that, like just like playing the heal card.
Bro,
like,
when he did that thing against
stadium.
Mouz where he was doing the 7, because they'd also beaten them 7 times in a row then. That's fucking dope.
Dude, that's coming
iconic.
Out from the fucking ground, flicking the crowd off, recording it, and then posting it. Like, that's fire that the best team in the world is doing that.
Yeah.
And that the crowd is like actively kind of rooting against them, and they're still fucking winning. Like, it's going to make it all the better when they lose. Like, if they lose in a final, it will be a historic moment.
Yes.
Like, it'll be amazing. And then watching how they recover after that, like, will that cause them to crumble? Like, that kind of shit really excites me. Like, how does it feel when they lose? Like, do they bounce back right away? Sure, they can bounce back in a map, but when they get bounced out of a tournament, what about 2 in a row? Like, are they done? Are they fucking cooked? And like, that's kind of stuff really excites me with these like super teams like you're talking about.
Oh, by the way, 2 things. 1, I also think if anyone's ever watched MMA, it's way better when you have a dominant champion, and then you're just trying to say, oh, which contender can even take them low? And then when they finally fall, it's the ultimate story. Also, secondly, because I've got it cropped, just do this a sec, because people can't see what t-shirt you're wearing, Sean. That is the Flashpoint logo, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen. That's right.
Oh, I thought it was
that's the Flashpoint logo. That's all you need to know. Listen, we were all technically on Flashpoint. Sean, not so long.
Duncan bought it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, enough about that. Never got a major, of course. I mean, there were no majors. It was on that. Right.
Oh, wait, you're talking about Flashpoint?
Yeah. No, I would never mock you for not having a major.
Double shirt.
I mean, in your case, making semis would have been good.
I made semis.
Yeah, it was good. Well done. Anyway. Right. let's do my point. Obviously, I won't make mine a 1 hour point. So I've got a pretty simple one. It's in the news for everyone at the moment. But I think people will be surprised that I would pick this as my good. Because if you know the format of the show, normally, Maui, I'd do this as the ugly, wouldn't I? I'm just going to say as my good, Falcons signing kyousuke. And the reason why is this. Because before this, I don't ever pretend. I've never done this. I never went and watched Donk when he was playing before. I watched like a few highlights of Ziwu when he was on like Against All Authority. But I don't go deep on those players because my logic goes, when they come to tier 1, I'm going to watch all their games anyway, and I'm going to get to experience, can they do it at tier 1? By the way, if they can't do it at tier 1, I've wasted my fucking time going deep on them in all these FaZe games and fucking tier 2 against online teams. So what I did was, before I made my video about this guy, I actually did go and watch a bunch of POVs and look at like how he plays certain spot. Mate, listen, he's not Donk because nobody is Donk. I can't even believe Donk is Donk. That doesn't even make sense. Take Donk out the equation. This could be like the best other rookie rifler you've ever seen, mate. Not on Donk's level, because that's ridiculous, but I give the more analogy is, think about when Exertion came on the scene, think about when Axile was really good early on. These guys were like stars immediately. They had the super crispy aim, they had all the fucking skills to take all the duels. He is really fucking good. And he is really good as like, listen, he's not also as much of an aggro player as Donk, but he is good as like part of the entry pack. And so here's the thing. The reason I'd normally put this as ugly is every single criticism that we've all made and that everyone else has made in their videos is valid. How the fuck will he make this work with Tesses and Nico? Also, if you look how he plays, he's actually more like the Nico style than Donk or Tesses, by the way. So when you consider everyone thinks they're just going to move Tesses out, make him the fucking lurker and then get him kicked out the team, yeah, that's going to be rough. But here's why I'm still putting it as good. Because you know what? As much as everyone's banged on Zonic, I think the biggest failure of Falcons 2024 is thinking it was CSGO and you could actually work off, like, we've got all these, like, role players and fucking, this guy does all the hard lifting. Mate, CS2 is, like, peek someone and bang their fucking head off with an AK. So I actually think there is actually a world where maybe you can just have almost everyone in the team just be a fucking, like, aggressive rifler and then have MongoZ also on the aggressive arm. I think there's actually a world where this works, just this roster, not even when they get bit in 3 months or whatever people think. I think there's a world where, for real, they just come in and they just gun everyone's head off because this kid looks really cracked. So I'm actually just going to say, I think this is a good movement. I mean, I'm up for it. I'm kind of hyped.
I was with you. I watched some of his like replays and shit like that, and his M4 control was like
his spray is nuts in it.
Yeah, it's honestly insane. Like it reminded me of like old CS. Like he was destroying people in fights. But won't their roles be all fucked up?
That's that's what people say. But again, who knows?
Who's gonna like be like anchoring down? Maui, what are they doing here?
Tessis will anchor. Tessis will anchor. Tessis was an anchor back on Heroic. He's not. He hasn't been an anchor for what, a year and a half now or something like that. But like he's. Like he used to play B on Mirage for Heroic when they were really good in 2022 and 2023. So he's totally capable of doing it. So if Kixan and Tessis just take back seats to the Nico kyousuke show, I'm for it. I'm totally for it because I always thought that Tessis was the most like underappreciated B anchor. He was, to me, the way I described Tessis back then was like he is so wildly overqualified to be a B anchor, and yet that's what he still did for Heroic. So like. He can do it. He can shift back to that. I think anchors are hard done, and he's gonna be the guy that's left holding the bag when they lose a game because people are because he'll just have worse stats now because he's gonna be like, oh wow, Tessis couldn't handle the role adjustment. It's like, yes, because anchors just get worse stats. Like you get worse fights that are not on your terms, and so you're gonna get worse stats in general. But it's gonna, to me, the question is gonna be when I watch kyousuke on Falcons, like, is the system serving everybody? Like, are the strats good? Like, is there good understanding of what they want to do in the mid round on a CT side when they are in a 4v5 deficit? Like, can they bring back rounds? Because if they just play like old Falcons did last year for me, or like when when Sonic was on complete fraud watch, it was just like they were just all sitting back and just hoping that the round would come to them, and I was getting like incredibly frustrated. I was like, okay, they're not even making plans in the mid rounds here. So I think that kyousuke is just going to be a huge injection for this team.
Well, wouldn't that be a problem, adding like a young fragger with plans in the mid round? Like, he's not going to be a vocal piece, for sure.
True.
I don't know how well he's going to communicate this stuff.
By the way, it is a gamble, but I also framed it this way, because if they can make this work, it doesn't make any sense in terms of all like conventional role theory. It might actually just revolutionize CS. Maybe it just turns out there's a new way of thinking about CS too. Again, it's a different game.
Or they fucking honeymoon phase it and trick everyone.
True. Yeah, but here's the other thing, Sean. The reason there's no downside to Falcons is they have the infinite money glitch, mate. So if this doesn't work, then you go, right, can I have 2 million more, please? Hey, bitch, you want to fucking play? And then if that doesn't work, hey, we need an IGL. And then eventually, Zonic, they just go, we need a new coach. That happens eventually. So you tell me how many millions you're getting. Difference is other teams have to go, well, shit, we bought him now. Better play with him, I guess. Like, that's not so great, is it? Team Liquid. Sorry, it was an echo in it.
Oh,
anyway,
that was crazy. You were in my head. I was literally thinking about
it. We're all thinking that, mate. We're all thinking that. Anyway, Maui, I agree. Falcons last year stink. What could they? What kind of product could they have used?
Oh, one more point about kyousuke, and then I'll talk about what stinks. The thing with watching him though, like in terms of POVs and just like the highlights and everything, is that like back in the day, you would see these really cracked out kids at like ESEA rank as like 17 RWS just like every single month or whatever, and they're just like smurfing in every pug they play. And the way that they would like work through Mirage is that they would just perfectly pre-aim everything as they're making their way through the entire map. Like kyousuke is clearly of a new generation. Like if you dropped him in 2018 high level pugs, people would be like, what the hell is even happening? Because his micro is so much more like he's on rollerblades or on ice skates the entire time. It feels like this dude is just like at max movement speed at all points in time.
He moves a lot, by the way. He doesn't even do the knock slide, bro. He moves between all the shots as well. It's nuts.
No, he's jiggling everything and like wide swinging randomly.
Yeah, every single peak is like it almost feels like he's taking his shots like I'm never seeing this guy stationary. Like he basically is like between angles, he's pivoting while strafing. It's not like it's wider than a jiggle, but it's like it's so controlled. Like I can't even explain it because his aim is so crazy good that he can have movement that looks like you're gonna get caught off on a timing here. Like you're gonna get caught off here if you just make this like bad peak.
But it's there's a bunch of games you can go and watch, like in his actual competitive games. If you watch like when a CT's holding a spot where you normally get the drop on the guy, he does that thing where he comes in and you expect him to get shot, and then he like uncrouches the second they fire it where his head was, and then he kills them. And it's the one because one of the best things in CS is when you see the reverse POV and you're like, how could you do anything against that? That's when you know a player's sick, mate.
Yeah, and his first bullet is just so insane too. I feel like we brought up first bullet for like players over the past like I don't even know, like 10 years, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like first bullet's always going to be great, but while he's doing it while moving all the time, like he's doing it against moving targets. Like I need to see like an aim lab score of this guy too, because it just feels like he's off the charts. So I mean. Yeah,
that's what I feel like makes Dawn so special, though, is how he pairs his movement with his shoot. Sure. Like he is like next gen in that regard. Yeah. Like it's not aim lab. Aim labs is just like mouse control. The way these like new school fraggers are playing is just like there's so much control. Like they're so good at pairing like their jiggles and wide swings with their mouse movement. Like they're way better than the old school days.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people here, their mouse movement definitely stinks. So I've got something for you. We've got Mando here as a sponsor, one of our favorite sponsors for Snake and Banter, as they, as always, have a promo code CS2 in which you can actually get $5 off a starter pack for yourself. And if you go to shopmando.com, you can smell like us. It's been hot lately. Obviously, we've got the player break. It's a great time to go outside, talk to some people. Don't sit in front of your computer all day. You're never going to be kyousuke. Let's just be honest. You're not going to be Donk anytime soon. Okay. Or maybe you will. But either way, you can smell good whether you are or are not these people. And so just go to shopmando.com, shopmando.com to get 40% off of a starter pack where you can try out all these different scents. I'm using the Cedar Grove one today. I've been using the Mount Fuji one in the past. I mean, there's so many great scents that make you smell pretty damn amazing. And the mini body washes are great too. You can just like try out so many different ways to get in. Personally, like I'm just using the stick deodorants all the time.
Yeah.
Like I use those all the time. That's basically how I start my days. Feels better on my skin than some of the deodorants I've used in the past. And the deodorants here, they are indeed paraben free. So if that irritates you in the past, I don't even know if it irritated me, but I feel better. So maybe it did.
Also, they have that like spray deodorant that actually you can literally spray it everywhere. It's actually safe for everywhere. I know people just did that anyway back in there were certain other brands, but actually you shouldn't have been doing that back in the day. This is fine. I also agree, Maui. Thanks to Mando, obviously everyone uses it. I know it's weird because I don't actually know what parabens are. I thought that was just like congratulations in Portuguese or something. Straight fire language shock if anyone knows that, but whatever. It's all good. I know a little bit of the old Corralho. It's actually Carajo, by the way, and I know that, but I'll always say Corralho just to fucking piss them off even more. Anyway, random shots at the Brazilians there for no reason. Had nothing to do with it. Thanks for the ad. Thanks for the ad, Mando. Anyway, now we'll go on to the bad point. So, Sean Gares, what is bad in CS?
Ooh, so even though I fuck with single limb playoffs, which is definitely a hot take, I don't like the lack of best of 5 finals. I feel like the broadcast did a really good job of like drawing out the day with like the long analyst as the start and the show match, and then an additional like death segment and interviews left and right. But I think the BO5 finals would just be so much better. I think at that point, you know, the teams are battle tested and there is a chance for a 3-0. And I know that that would be awful. Like the visual 3-0 on broadcast is dog shit. But I still would rather a BO5, especially seeing them all play out so well lately in Valorant. It's just like not having that day sucked. I really wish it was BO5.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that I mean I don't even know if we're barking up the right tree or any tree sometimes when we make these kinds of statements, because I too would want a BO5 in the grand finals. I mean, I would want the major format to change to involve 0 BO1s, only BO3s, BO5 grand finals, reserve BO5s for only the most important games of the season. And we maybe could even do without a couple of them through the season. Like, I mean, I love the TOs I work with all use BO5 grand finals at this point. And actually, no, you know what? I take that back. Yeah, because it's MR12 now. The BO5 never even feels like it's that long or that bad. Like, it really,
No.
even in a game that's like kind of a slaughter or something like that, it doesn't ever really feel like, wow, that was such a boring BO5. And I think MR12 has really relieved us of the excruciating ones, which used to happen back in the late 2010s, where I was like, man, I don't really find a reason to like watch this third map, or like I like this already feels like it's bad for one team. I'm not sure if it's going to get any better. But no, with MR12, it just feels like it just feels too obvious now for me, like that it should be there. I know that certain people in the community have talked to Valve devs in the past, and that the Valve devs need some sort of like concrete objective reasoning that a BO5 is better than a BO3. And I don't really know how to construct an argument for something that just says like, I mean, what, you lower variance for who the eventual winner is when you play out more maps in a game. I feel like that's like the most obvious defense for a BO5. And on top of that, it's better for the tournament organizer who you are partnering with, because they get more watch hours, and watch hours equate to money. So I feel like those are two incredibly obvious reasons. And if they need more objective reasons, I feel like there are more, surely. Like this,
Sure.
I don't think this is like a hard case to construct that a BO5 is better for a broadcast and for a tournament than a BO3.
Well, it's just the finals are the only single match day, which is why, you know, I feel like there's room in the day for a BO5. Unlike the other days where it's like 2 BO3s, potentially more, like if you're doing a bunch of BO1s. But yeah, it was a weird vibe to just have that over in 3 maps.
All right, I'll tell you what,
Maui,
I will challenge accepted. I will attempt to explain to a Valve dev, so sort of like explain it like I'm 5. I will, or like I'm a fucking noob, a silver noob in the game.
To AI.
Yeah, or to AI, whatever. Yeah. Well, the difference is AI theoretically can learn, But okay, enough about that. Theoretically, even that's debatable. But yeah, listen,
That's the hope that you have.
Listen, Sean,
you
you have to remember this isn't Riot Games. Like, I actually have flamed Valve devs to their face and then told someone, don't ever put me in a room with those fucking idiots again. Like, they never even banned me from the majors. Like, I actually say, you know what? Fair play, Valve. I'm worried I was going to get too good at it a few times, but you know what? I got through it. It's all good. It's all good. There was especially one major. Well, there's a couple of majors where, you know, maybe went a bit close to the line. The third rail, as they say on the underground. Right, here's the point, though. I will make the points as if I'm explaining them to a Valve dev, because actually, the best argument is, why do we need them? So I'll give you a few reasons. One is, and this is a great angle for a Valve dev, as you say, Sean, the minimum maps you can have is 3. That means we get to see 3 of your maps in the final. That means we get more variety than just 2. Because here's the part people don't realise. Yeah, it can be a really shit 3-0. That's way better than a really fast 2-0 in the final. Think about that. Like, as you're saying, you remember, I know exactly what you're tapping into, but you didn't say it explicitly. When it comes to the final, which we always have on the Sunday, bro, you want it to be like that Super Bowl feeling of like, right, I'm going to get up, I'm thinking 3 hours before about it, I've got my snacks and my drinks. Imagine if it's over an hour and a half. That would be whack. Yeah. That's like, what the fuck? Like, I want a whole day now. I want to enjoy. And at the end, by the way, I do want like a massive post-game show where we take it all apart. I want it to feel like this is a fucking event. And it's like, they will always remember this day. So I also do think having more maps is, by the way, it's also just does test who's the better team. Because here's what people will miss if you're a noob about having the potential for 5 maps. It's very unlikely that like the weaker of the 2 teams is good on all the maps. Maybe the better team is good on like 3 or 4. It's very unlikely the other team, the underdog, even if they're the second best team, is actually equally as good on like 4 or 5 of the 6 maps that are available, or 5 after you do the bans. And so as a result, think of the dynamic you get for an analyst. That means when you see the veto before any map is played, you can do cool narratives like, oh, actually the underdog's gotten their maps early, but they're going to have to win 2 of the first 3, otherwise it's going to be really hard for them. Then if you know that like their favourite gets through those maps, maybe the underdog picks first, then it's like, oh, but now they're into the back end where all their strong maps are. Maybe they can now pull up the series. I'll also give you an example. When it's 0-2, yeah, in theory, the team winning could just win the last map and take it, right? If they win that map, though, here's what's different from a BO3. When it's now 1-2 for the underdog team, it sort of evens out, because even the favourites played 3 whole maps. Like, bro, you don't keep red hot form for 3 whole maps in a row. Even the favourite's going to get mildly fatigued and have to like dig deep for map 4 to close it out. And then if they fuck that up, it's map 5. That actually happened to Vitality a few times. Like, that's also a dope narrative too. That's another part that'll make the map really memorable and have like transformative elements to the story between it all. Whereas I do think actually there are way too many BO3 finals. Luckily it didn't happen in this one. But imagine if, by the way, that first map wasn't like that. Imagine if it was like map 2 and map 3 had just been the final. True. Holy fuck, that would have been whack. Even though actually, you know, MongolZ had some play, it would be whack to see you lose like 16-4 or whatever the fuck they were. That would be dog shit as the major final. So I think I'm with you. I think it's a slam dunk. And also because it's MR12, they go so quick, mate. Matches go so quick now.
One of the best parts of the Boston major was like the buzz for that third map on like socials, because it was a long third map. So it allowed like Twitter to kind of pop off. But if there's a best of 5, that would happen on like map 4.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
It's the reason why I think everyone says the best match is that Cologne, not even a major, that one between Navi and FaZe at the end of in like 2022 or whatever. It's because it went 5 full maps. And so that, like you're saying, by the time you get to map 3 or map 4, everyone in esports is watching that game, mate. Everyone's hopped on to see the spectacle and all that shit, innit?
But in a BO3, it's like you might miss that shit.
Easy.
If it's not very long third map, then you could easily just like miss it. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't think there's any bad sides. And also, I didn't even say it, but you mentioned it. Like, it's the major. And I feel like all phases of the game, like all areas should be tested.
Yes.
Like you should be able to get through the BO1s. Like, in my opinion, I fuck with it. The single elim playoff bracket, no mistakes, fuck it. And then the endurance test at the end, the BO5. Like, you don't have to make every game some like situation where there's no variance, but that is like the ultimate litmus test for the best team in the world, in my opinion.
And put it this way, MongolZ didn't do it, but say MongolZ had won and it had been a BO5, who the fuck can complain then? You just have to go, you just win, mate. You beat the best team we've seen in CS2. Here's the award. Like, I also think that's a dope angle too. And it's also just jarring to have every other tournament in BO5 final, and then the majors, some like, lol, we're back in the old BO3. It's like, fucking hell, mate. That's what the opening matches at the other tournaments. What are we doing? Right, okay. Maui, what is your bad take? Point.
Bad,
Freudian slip there.
many bad takes, but on a different show. Generally, that's on a different show that we run, yeah.
Okay.
Which is on an unannounced hiatus, apparently. But
good. We'll see.
here it is. Here it is. Yeah. Okay, I think that this discussion has gotten way out of hand. I feel like okay, you know what? I'll just be direct. On it. I feel like Steele's point about fundamentals, and I think I've actually seen Kassad make a similar tweet. So people posted my tweet on Reddit a while back about like the fact that I'm saying like the best teams in the world have good fundamentals. Like they understand what they're doing. Like it almost feels like this is the hot take right now. The good teams in Counter-Strike play good CS. Like this is somehow become a bewildering take for a lot of people that think that they know better than what the top teams are doing. And like, don't get me wrong, pro teams make mistakes very frequently. In fact, you can usually point at every single round of Counter-Strike played by two teams in the top 5 in the world, and you could probably point out 3-4 mistakes that are made in a single round of CS, even by the most elite teams. However, I'd say to frame analysis about a lot of the best teams in the world as having bad fundamentals, I mean, yes, and yeah, like Steele did this, Kassad did this with like anti-ecos and stuff, and I was like, guys, like there are so many ways that you have to play rounds differently now than what happened in like 2018, 19, and this is in the appeal to authority here. I've talked to probably 4 people about this at the major, other broadcast talent, one of course, but then like 2 separate major winners who I'm not going to name, who are,
major winning sources. I love it. Okay, go on, keep cooking.
Yeah, major winners of this decade.
And he means like intelligent ones. He didn't talk to like fucking Pasha and JL.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I did, but no. Those weren't the people.
Sure.
Those weren't the people I talked to, and all of them think that the discussion about like top teams having bad fundamentals is just wrong. It's just completely wrong because CS2 for one just has different fundamentals than what we had in CS:GO. Like you just have to play the game a little bit differently now. Like to think that every situation, and I'll get into some of the minutia here as an example, is that like if you think you can just get a 5v4 advantage and then play 3 on one bomb site, 2 on the other bomb site, you're still gonna lose that round on CT side so frequently. If you are on Inferno and you get a pick down mid with an op, and then you keep your op at arch side, you keep a guy in the A bomb site, and you keep a guy in pit, but then you have 2 guys on the B bomb site, and you think we have a 5-on-4 advantage. Let's just play the trades and let's just try to turtle up. You're gonna lose that round. Like that's such a losing play nowadays because the B execs are way stronger. The A execs are way stronger. Like if you sit in a bomb site, they with like one smoke, one molly, one flashbang can cover like 90% of the spots you can play in that bomb site now. And you are just going to get pushed out of your position, or you're going to be blind, or like you're just going to get swung on by like a guy that swings like with the flash. Like there's so many ways that can go wrong for you. And then even if you trade it out effectively on that B bomb site of Inferno, and you're you're retaking in like a 2v3, the 2v3 is favored for the T's on Inferno. Like if you have 2 guys on the B bomb site and they get into like coffins and then one guy's playing new box, dude, they're winning that post plant so often nowadays. And so I think the discussion about like I think turtling as a concept is almost like it's almost dead. Like turtling is just like not a valid play in CS2 anymore. I feel like that's something where it's so rare is in CS nowadays. So I think to just like try to break down the game and use 2015 fundamentals, or even like what Astralis did. Like here, I'll be real. Like, I obviously talked to Dupree about this stuff. Like he knows, having been now on like, the era defining team of Astralis. like he says himself, if you played that way, then you're what Falcons were last year. If you want to play that style of like always following the proper number theory and doing things perfectly with a flashbang, then like you're just going to get beat out by individuals who are playing at a higher tempo than you. So this is, to me, I think the fundamentals discussion, the reason that I bring it up as a bad point is that I think it downplays so much of what has been honed into efficacy between the best teams in the world at this point, who are playing at such an optimal level that pointing out things like a player makes a bad peak or something like that. Like most of the things that they're doing are plus EV. Like most of the even the very first peak that Senzu made, peaking from like temp, like because I'm referencing a specific example now from Steel where he showed like it was like a 4v2 for MongolZ and how they lost it. Even the guy peaking with the op into A main there is a plus EV peak. Like it's an op peeking into an angle. It's like if he just played the standard far back angle, he's going to be pre-aimed and Peeker's advantage is one tapped in the face. Like that guy's playing an off angle, he's strafing into the angle. Like that's plus EV in CS2 as opposed to playing back, turtling, which is like, yeah, that's CS:GO. That's CS 1.6.
I do feel like so I want to play like both sides a little bit because I don't like the word fundamentals. I was talking to Duncan about this earlier. It's just like it's such a it encompasses literally everything you would want, right? Like someone that doesn't know anything about CS could use that word and not really define what it means. Are you talking about trading? Are you talking about their spacing? Are you talking about their util usage? Are you talking about, their op presence on the map? Like what the fuck are you talking about? The word fundamentals is so overused and overblown in my opinion. So it's hard to say. I will say that watching MongolZ in the finals, like they did some dumb shit on those last two maps. Like the way they played Inferno T-side was so bad. The way they were just solo going through smokes, I was just like, bro, they are not giving.
At the B site, they were just literally stood walking one by one through the smokes and just getting chewed up by all the spray. It's mad, isn't it? Yeah, it's mad.
But like again, is that fun? Is that what you're defining as fundamentals? Like there's like 85 things the way people describe fundamentals, and
sure,
I just think people need to be more specific with their criticisms because I trust both Steel and Kassad's opinion, so I'm not going to say they're wrong, but I don't really know what they were referencing. Like I have no idea.
All right, I'll just say this. I'm also not going to go super hard on this. This is more the Maui versus Steel fucking topic, isn't it? But I do sort of largely agree with Maui. What I would say is this. I just think the discussion needs to be more expansive than this, whereas I think what they're doing is an incredibly exclusive discussion, which is essentially, it's actually, I think, kind of sports. By the way, I agree with you. I actually think both Steel and Kassad have a very deep knowledge of Counter-Strike and have obviously been right in there in the trenches with all like teams that they've made this work. They've beaten like the best teams in the world with way lesser rosters and made it work with like pieces that other people said weren't good or like aren't fit for the job in another squad, and then they find a way to make. So I trust these guys to know a lot about the game. But what I think they're doing here is unfortunately like thinking that like you don't ever have to like consider new concepts in the game. And so what I'll do to give like a little olive branch to them is I'll quickly just give an example of where I did this in CSGO, which is back in like 2015, 2016, when everyone used to go crazy with whatever the meta pistol was. It was the fucking CZ first, then it was the Tech 9, then it was just Deagle buys, if you remember, like Envious and stuff, and they'd just like have super long range Deagle fights and kill you with 3 headshots or whatever. When everyone did those crazy force buys in that reset meta economy back then, I always used to say to Yanko, how can you like criticize everything else about the game, but then you're fine with them just doing all these ridiculous force buys that if they don't work, just mean your economy is completely crippled too. Like you never get back in the game because you constantly buy like a Deagle and body armor or like a nade or flash as well. Like, and so I said, how can you be fine by that? And the point he made back then, which I realized was wisdom. It was actually how CS:GO was different to 1.6 was. You're never ever going to, in that game, just have like a pure save with only USPs. That can almost never win you around. If you do a pure Glock save with no smoke, you'll never win the round. So what you're doing in this scenario is, say you're down in a game, maybe you're even playing a better opponent, and everything's going their way. You're just doing the ultimate gamble. You're just saying, right, you're hitting the fuck it switch, right? This button here means if we get lucky with basically 3 bullets fired, we might actually, 1, crush our economy, and 2, we might even win the round. This is like basically the way to sort of say, like, shuffle the game. Let's see. And what I realized was that was part of the meta of how you played CSGO. And also, by the way, as I then had to realise, this is the other part people forget, the other team has to take that into account. Like, when they know, by the way, like, oh, wait, Envious is on a save, let's just go B on overpass. No, because guess what? 3 of them might just have deagles lined up on that pipe. You come out and they just bang your head straight off. You know, after 3... now, suddenly, by the way, a normal take, you have to use, like, all your utility just to do a normal take against deagles. Like, you can't just run in there like the old school in 1.6, like, lol, we're going B and just kill them all with AKs. Like, that shit doesn't exist anymore in the game. And then similarly, I actually do think there's another classic mistake people make, because fans do this. It's way more fans than analysts do this one, which is, you know, the most classic take in the history of Counter-Strike is rush B on T side of Dust 2, and you just go in as fast as you can, right? If you do that, a fan, if you ever die from an off angle, a guy right up to your left with the mag, a guy in the car behind there with his fucking farmhouse or something, a guy who just stays behind the box on plat and never peeks, and then suddenly he shows again. If you ever get killed, the fan will be like, what a moron, he didn't even check that. It's like, it wouldn't be a rush if you check everything. If you went really slow and contacted and did a crossfire on every angle, 1, it wouldn't be a rush, and 2, the second they see you do that, that's nades come into you, they do the rotation immediately. Remember, if you rush B, a massive component of that has to be, you get the bomb down really fast, because it's got the longest rotation time in the game from long A. If you don't take advantage of that, if you just go really slowly, that long guy's already at fucking CT spawn by the time you get the bomb down. Like, you've actually probably halved your chance to win. So basically, when you do a noob rush B, you are going to literally pick 2 or 3 spots you are just not going to look at with your team, and you're just going to gamble that they're not there in that one. And it is, listen, it's a gamble, but just like I always said about plus EV, it's a gamble that overall probably works out. Like, they aren't going to be in that one weird spot every fucking time. So actually clearing it is kind of actually itself noob thinking, because you, again, I actually think this is what the whole conversation is about. You're trying to be too perfect. CS2 especially, this is why the game's different too to me. It looks like CSGO, but for me it really is way more about gunfighting, getting the drop on someone, like you're saying about catching the AWPer. Mate, back in any other version of CS, the guy peeking into the AWPer with an AK who's a really good AWPer and has like the off angle, the AWPer wins every time. He even does the JDM, he fade away fit. That 1v5 he does against Envious, I think it was, on that major in Liquid was shit. All he did half the time was 3 or 4 of them just fades away on an angle. That you can't even do that. By the way, you would die at the second kill in on that in fucking CS2. And then lastly, I also do think, I agree on CT side, you have to be really insanely good. Actually, funnily enough, Mouz did it themselves against Vitality. But aside from that, you cannot just stay in the sights on CT. That is like 10 years old, mate. Because T-side is so powerful now, and the AK is the best gun in the game, it is literally better than an AWP, and it's really cheap. It's like half the price almost. You have to, if there's nothing going on in the mid-round, you have to make an information play somewhere. You have to have a chance to know, am I just wasting my time re-smoking this spot, and there's not anyone there at all, and I don't have any smokes for the retake? Like, you have to make some gamble peak somewhere, and yeah, every now and then you're going to do that, and the 2 people are going to be trained on that spot and just kill you instantly. You'll look like an idiot, but I tell you what, every other time they're not doing that, you're going to look like a fucking genius if you get that flank off, if you make the call onto the other site and you stack it up. As we said, by the way, Inferno, probably the best example of a map like that. The old style was just Turtle. In the modern day, if you literally just let them probe your defense and then just send 4 people slowly to B while you've got 2 people there, good luck. Good luck in CS2 winning that. And by the way, the second they plant that bomb in CS2, you save. You don't even get a retake. Like, it's just a fucking save. Like, so I do think essentially none of these guys are wrong. What they're doing, though, in my opinion, is they're like focusing a bit too much on one aspect of theory, and they're not realizing that I do think in the modern day there's a different type of a meta as to how teams play. And also, I agree with you, Maui. Sometimes a move that's stupid in isolation isn't stupid if that's the natural counter to a different move that's also done differently. Like, there's a logic where that can stack together. So I think it's an interesting topic, though. Go on, Sean.
Yeah, no, so like this is actually a very interesting topic, and I tried to work with my IGLs in Valorant about this, because the way I perceive the game is kind of, or pretty much everything is like kind of like a bell curve where, yeah, I think most of the time you should do what Kasada and Seal are playing. You should play like by the numbers. You should play good trading, good spacing. all of that shit. That's the center of the bell curve. That's where the most of the distribution will lie in every round. But there's rounds on the right side where you should do like a really heavy exec. That's like ridiculous. There's rounds where you should do that. And just like how in Valorant, there's like rounds where you should overpower someone with like 3 ults. There's the same type of feel in CS. And then there's the left side of the bell curve, which is like, let's just dry contact this shit. Or let's just take extremity fights, just dry, and we'll just react with the middle 3. Like there's shit like that.
Yeah.
Because you have to realize you're not playing some computer. You're playing people that are expecting you to play in the center of the bell curve. And so if you only operate in the center of the bell curve, you are so readable, you will not be a top team in esports because you are playing other people. It tells me that you don't respect the opponent if you call like that. You don't think that they're capable of countering your shit. And truthfully, they are. And you have to think 2 steps ahead of them by doing these things. That's how I've always thought about calling, is like, you need to be able to change the pace. You need to know when to change the pace. You need to know when to use util and when not to use util, because everyone knows how to run a fucking default. That's so easy. Like, you just copy a team, how they get map control. It's when and how you should like kind of approach things. That's the difficult gray area. I think Vitality does a really good job of blending it. I think some of the other teams are too buttoned up and too readable. And then, like MongolZ, I felt like they were so buttoned up. And then in the finals, when they were up a map, they tried to be like loose in the worst ways possible. Like, that's where my gripe was, is just like, I believe in that style if it's used correctly. And they did it right once on Dust 2. They walked through a long smoke and no one was there. And the dude that walked through the long smoke just fucking sat there and didn't take jiggles on the guy ramp. Didn't like, I would call it like faking pressure. So that way the guy ramp is just like tunneling on you. Like, he's just terrified to do anything, but you're never going to commit to a fight. Like, you're just constantly just fucking with him. But he did nothing. He just let his whole team fucking die. And that's where they really fucked up. And if you want to call that like fundamentals, then again, that is like what is
define the term. Yeah. By the way, obviously, I don't want fans to get confused because they don't know Valorant and be like, "Oh, someone's look." Sean means you have to do all the right things in Valorant too. Like, you have to like send in a penguin to plant the bomb. You have to teleport over the other side of the map. You have to make a rave inside the site with all flashing bangs and stuff like that. And then you have to go through the smoke like, "Hey, baby, what's going on? Can I plant the bomb?" You're like, "Listen, it's a different game, but the similar concepts apply." Okay, it's a good game. It's for kids,
Yeah, I think in general, like. I guess the way I would keep moving with the fundamental thing is just like, I think defining it is great and everything like that. And actually, to Steele's credit to give, is that he did make videos after the fact, kind of breaking down rounds of like how he thinks certain things should be played out and everything like that, which gives you great insight to his train of thought of like, why he thinks the MongolZ are whack in the way that they are and everything. But like, I mean, like, I feel like if you're missing like a really key, like the super key gap of information that I feel like if people really want to just like study the game more, is like the way that people played in 2022 and 2023 just like changed everything for everybody. Like, it really did. I think like what Heroic did at that time, and even Gambit to an extent, just the way that they played like a gamble style, like how aggressive they were on CT and everything like that, like everything kind of came in the wake of what those teams were doing, mostly in my eyes Heroic, where they all realized, okay, like we like the quote unquote fundamentals of CT sides in particular are turned on their heads completely. And I think if you're missing that and you're just kind of watching what's going on now, like you're gonna see this stuff and you're gonna be like, if you're coming out of like the 20, if you wake out from a coma after watching the Astralis era and see today, you're like, what the fuck are these CT sides doing, honestly? But now it's just things are way more active, and a lot of it is predicated on individuals kind of like doing things that don't seem like they're necessarily the most team oriented, but it was necessary to give their teams information earlier. Like the main, I think the key that you brought up earlier was information. Like information as a whole is just like, it's so much more valuable now than it was 6-7 years ago, because executes and site hits and the way that even entry fraggers can clear a bomb site dry has just been so refined that if you just sit on your heels in the back of a site, you're going to just get hard peaked by a guy that is ready for your angle all the time.
Also, by the way, to tie into the kyousuke point, if you ever watch how he plays CT with an M4A1, bro, like the old school CS where you crouch and spray people, that doesn't get like more than 2 kills versus good people. The other 3 people come around the corner and shoot you in the fucking head with a one-tap. Like, what he literally does is between sprays, he like literally is moving. He's doing like the old AD shit, and he's getting and that spray is working, by the way, because the second he pauses and he's firing, he's fucking killing. So like, it's way more effective than you realize. And someone doing that against you is way more powerful than like just sitting like a noob and spraying like an old highlight clip. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I think to draw attention to like this CT style that you guys are talking about, you know who like really popped out to me? Brolin on like Mirage and maybe even Inferno was like taking a lot of info peaks and like he would push very deep into A ramp on Mirage. Like he would push through in like the mid rounds and gain a lot of info. And if he dies, like the amount of info he would get on that death is incredible. Like you would then be able to push B probably, because if there's like 2 people in their fucking spawn, like you can take that one-on-one upper B and like take ground, or you can then like take that ground palace and like beat them there. Like you can do a lot of things with that info in the right spaces in Counter-Strike. And I agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of these teams are utilizing that information really well. And it would hurt them to play absolute textbook CS at this point. Because I like it.
Right, for my bad point, I think I've got... Look, technically, this one is predicated on what we know currently in the public. So all the news so far from the insiders, and in fact implied by s1mple himself, is he's not going to FaZe, and he's not going to Navi either. He's just stuck in a spot where someone else is going to have to buy him, if indeed that's going to happen. By the way, he didn't seem particularly up fucking beat in those comments, did he? Like, implying he's in prison or whatever, in contract jail. I will just say, mate, I don't think you can call it jail when you get paid like fucking, you know, like more than Sean used to make in a whole year in 1 month of being in jail. Like, you know what I mean? Again, Woody Harrelson drying my tears with $100 bills, motherfucker. You know what I mean? I don't know. I tell you what, getting that Ferrari Testarossa from your trip in the Maldives, drinking fucking champagne, and then go, oh, it's fucking hard, this life, you know. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I know it is, mate. But you know what? You'll be back on a team soon. So anyway, but I'm just going to say this. Forget the s1mple side for a moment. Maybe I'll talk about that later. This is the bad point. Holy fuck, is FaZe Clan up shit's creek then? That was the one angle that gave you hope that it could be fixed. If not only are they not getting s1mple, but they're bringing Brokey back, mate, I'm depressed. I'm just depressed.
You just did like
my heart just sank, mate. I know. My heart just sank because it's just like, listen, Tyra Banks meme. We wanted to believe in you. I believe in you, for fuck's sake. But also, and then I'm going to have to hear all those fucking fans go, Carrigan, how good can his calls be? You have to be able to shoot the guns at the end of the day, mate. You don't just move into a position like chess and then they go, oh, take that piece. You have to shoot them. So if they don't miss, I already told people s1mple would be better than Brokey was at the end there. Brokey coming back is not it. And the idea you don't have any other move, that's fucking rough. Because actually after this major, everything, the hype around s1mple, the hype around FaZe Clan, by the way, they were probably the most beloved team at the fucking major, even though Vitality's won every bloody series for the last 6 months or something. Like, everyone was ready to go crazy, loving FaZe Clan. And surely the big tease of the major was they had Skulls as the standard before. So this was the first tournament they played with that 5-man lineup. And you know what? Yeah, it didn't get up, but it still had moments. Mate, MongolZ made the finals. They beat them in the summer system. They almost got that map too. There was flashes where you were like, this could be something. The idea that all goes away, just toss that all in the bin, Brokey's back, there's no s1mple, enjoy FaZe Clan, I guess. That's a bummer, mate. Actually, I have to just put it as bad. That's just, like, that's depressed me, mate. What do you think, Sean?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You know I love s1mple, man. He's a fucking entertainer. This guy is entertaining as fuck to watch in the server and also entertaining as fuck out of the server. Like screaming, shut the fuck up. Dude, the major is so fucking funny, dude. That's so fucking funny to me. And then you get the in-game like fucking hero op buys out of nowhere. It feels back. And then the last Anubis game, he's just auto-shotting every time, and you're like, motherfucker.
I know. What was that? What was that?
You gotta take the good with the bad, bro. This guy's trying to play CS2. I was just like, man, not like this though, not this map,
I know.
please, s1mple. I was rooting for him so fucking hard. Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't have any takes on Brokey coming back, but I want to see s1mple play, man. He's such an entertaining person.
Yes. What do you think on the FaZe angle, though, Maui?
I mean, as far as I know, s1mple is going to be freer. Like I think the contract is pretty much done at the end of this year.
I think it was
or the
October,
beginning
someone
of
said.
next year.
Something like that.
Okay, yeah. It's within. I think it's within 6 months. So it really sucks that we're in a holding period again. The FaZe angle is just brutal because you finally had a FaZe roster that looked like it could contend with the best teams in the world, and obviously they beat MongolZ. They beat the team that made it to the grand finals of the major. So if FaZe could beat them in a group stage, usually it's the opposite. FaZe would be the team that beats them in the playoffs, but MongolZ were able to learn from the loss and everything. And I think Brokey does not really inspire me with any confidence anymore. I don't really see a world where, like, unless Brokey actually took that sabbatical and worked on himself in 4 different areas, both in game and out of the game, then I'm not really sure what this is going to provide the team if he does end up having to be the guy that returns for them. Like I wouldn't necessarily have wanted. I mean, if I'm like facing this off with like take some tier 2 Molodoy type Opper or Brokey, I probably would even take the up and coming Opper right now because I just haven't seen enough from Brokey in the last 12 months. Like it's been long. It was a pretty long time where he was letting the team down. In the beginning of CS2, he was pretty darn good. Yeah, but then there was just this long stretch of him just not being a serviceable player for the team. So I'm pretty bummed about that because I feel like FaZe loses a lot in terms of their entertainment factor. I think they lose a lot in terms of their contender status. But with s1mple, anything felt possible. And even going into the upcoming season, I felt like anything felt possible. Like I don't even, if s1mple played into the upcoming season, I thought that they would have actually been maybe a top 6 always team. Like they felt like they were kind of in that range. Like, Alicia's still one of the best riflers we have in this game. Like I know people love to harp on the fact that he isn't Donk, but like he's still actually rivaling people like Xantares all the time. Sure. So I don't really know how much more you can ask of him because he's not the best player in the world, but he's still top 10 rifler. So it leaves a really, it leaves the next season to not, it doesn't even leave a lot up to the imagination because I know what this FaZe is if they just bring Brokey back. It's a team that's kind of like borderline playoffs at every tournament. Yep. But even if they get there, I don't see them beating a Mouz, Falcons, FaZe, probably even the MongolZ today.
No, the other thing is, well, as you said there as well, surely at the end of that major, the first thing you thought was, I can't wait to see what the next tournament's like. Will they have leveled up more? Will s1mple be better? You don't even get that. Now you're just back to Brokey. Well, here's the good news if you are s1mple, though. You don't have a team, but I'll tell you what, all that money you have and all that fucking bank accounts and fucking special loyalty card for whatever sports car that is, where you get to go in a special lounge and some woman in a fucking cocktail dress goes, more champagne, sir? And you go, nah, you won't believe it. They won't let me out of my contract for free. And they keep him bloody paying me. Well, you know what you could use? A Ridge wallet. That'll keep all your stuff nice and secure. It's nice and small, like your chances of being in FaZe Clan. Apparently, listen, I didn't do it, mate. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at all those fucking that temper guy on Streamer. I might have to buy him. Like, yeah, all right, mate. I can talk shit about buying stuff too. Anyway, Ridge wallet though, straight fire. It's nice and small. Look how compact it is. My head's not 1.5 meters long. That's actually reasonably small. You can fit up to 12 cards, s1mple. So you can have your MasterCard, your American Express, your Visa, some Ukrainian shit. I don't know, the Navi lifetime club where the fucking guy brings you out some fucking dumplings or something at half time in the game. And then you go, get that shit on my fucking face, you idiot. Didn't you see that 5th player lost him 1v2? Kill him. In the video game of Minecraft. And also, as all tech, like you can put, if you're a boomer, like me, if you're not as rich, I'm not as rich as you, s1mple. I have to like a peasant, touch coins sometimes. You're like one of those medieval liege lords who, when I do a mission for you, you throw like a fucking little leather bag of gold coins on the floor. Take it away from you, piece of shit. You don't even count it. There's just an amount in there that's more than I could ever dream of. And I just go, oh yes, master, and then I run away and kill someone for you in Minecraft. All of it's in Minecraft. So anyway, you can get like a coin Modern thing also put on the back there. I have a thing here where I put all my like loyalty cards. Like I have one here where when I get 20 of them, Sean, I get a free gourmet sausage. Because that's right, you know, can't just be wasting money on 20th sausage when I could get it for free. You can do that too. Or you can have your fucking gym card in there or something. Sean's obviously in there all the time. Like Joe Rogan. Hopefully he doesn't also use all the other things Joe Rogan uses. I think he's natty. He looks natty to me. Yeah. Maybe.
Doesn't he admit to like?
Oh, he does,
like,
but I'm implying whether you are or not. That's the joke I was sort of going for. But it's all good.
Yeah,
Listen, no, of course not. All I'm saying is we don't need you, Sarda, in this spot. He's just an analyst now. Get the fuck away. Leave him to his life. He's made his choices he's made. Anyway, the point is they also have tech where if in the modern day, I don't know, I've never seen this happen, but I don't know, on some GoldenEye fucking super spy tech shit. Now apparently they have like a thing where they can like scan your card from outside and steal the information from it and put it on the fucking internet or something with the ones and zeros. I'm reading the Matrix. I don't know, but that actually has RFID blocking technology to stop some fucking little wizard coming in there like that and just wrecking you completely. And you're like, where did my money go? I was robbed.
This seems like a sources, trust me, bro. I'm
Absolutely.
not going to lie.
Listen,
this seems crazy. I don't believe in this.
I'm mainly reading off copy here, Sean. I can't claim to know what RFID. I don't even know what that shit is. I just know it's something to do with phones. So anyway, they also have all different colours. You can have it made out of premium materials, aluminium, titanium, carbon fibre, 50 plus colours and styles to show off. And they have a lifetime warranty. That's right. I mean, look, the reason it's a lifetime warranty, they're so good.
Aluminum, by the way, if you want to say it the correct way, aluminum.
Nah, it's aluminium. They did write aluminum because they're an American company. But listen, I know the way it works. I know the way the English language.
I'd say two things about Ridge Wallet. One, they have a new colorway, which is stars and stripes. They basically you can just wear the American.
So if you're a patriot, if you don't buy it, you basically hate America. Oh, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. You totally hate America. And the second thing, this just streamlines your wallet usage. Really, it's just smaller than a normal wallet. Like getting cards in and out is just a lot faster.
Yeah.
So if you love taking the metro, like myself, then you obviously need those cards in and out really quickly.
It's like me and
someone
Maui.
jumps you.
I'm the traditional analyst. Maui's smaller, but he's just as good. Still a lot of great information packed in there. You can still get just as much in there in theory. So, okay, for a limited time only, our listeners can get 10% off at Ridge using the code. It's on the screen. Snake, easy to remember, isn't it? At the checkout. Just head to ridge.com, use the code Snake, and you're all set. After you purchase, they do that thing where they're like, where did you hear about us? Just say like Snake and Banter, Last Free Nation, Mauisnake, whatever, and then they will know that you came from us. Thank you to everyone who supports our show by buying a wallet. Simple. You don't have to buy a wallet, mate. I'm just saying. You've got a lot of time on your hands, so, you know, consider upgrading your wallet if you want. Anyway, right, let's move on. Well, listen, everyone gets roasted on this show. You have to understand, Sean. You have to understand. If people don't want to get roasted, come on the show.
No one's safe, bro.
We'll all, like, mildly pussy out and just very gently roast you. Yeah, exactly. You can also just
work a different game.
Yeah, true. If you go to Overwatch, we'll never roast you. You know. s1mple tried it. He made the mistake of coming back. Right, anyway. Dead now, of course. In Minecraft. Right, let's go on now to the last segment of the show, which is the ugly segment. So I'm actually going to initially throw it to you, Sean, even though no one could ever describe you as ugly. Big ass. Wow. The old school meme there, big ass.
Wait.
Big Airs.
Oh, big.
Yeah.
I think he said Big S. I was like, wait, who the fuck?
Listen, that would be a cool rap name for you.
Accent.
No, big ass. Big ass.
Okay. My ugly is, honestly, I went the other side initially where Vitality has this crazy like closer instinct in them and they have this aura deep in games. But I also have to throw shade at all three of those teams for fucking shitting the bed deep in games or deep in series. Like, bro, seeing Torsi, for example, go 16-2 first half of Inferno and then bounce back with that third map. You know, seeing MongolZ destroy them on Mirage, and then we had to witness Dust 2 at Inferno. And then the throws in that opening series by, who was it? Was it Mouz?
Navi.
Who the fuck was it? Navi. Navi had him deep in the fucking games too.
Yep, they did.
Like they lost the eco deep on Nuke. I was like, what the fuck is going on? They have like some aura around them where they just, like you said, they just can't lose. But these teams are giving them the games, like deep in the games. Like, they just like crumble. It's wild to see. They have like that nip magic that NIPs had back in the day.
For sure.
Like the players that were dominating all of a sudden like stop hitting shots. But tactically it looked like, bro, was it Mouse on Train? Or no, who played him on Train? Mouse on Train, yeah. dude, their
Yeah.
T-side train looked awful. Like they could get nothing
Yep.
going.
You can never
on
even get the
train.
sights half the time, yeah.
Yeah. And so like I don't know. It's just like both Mouz and MongolZ, the way that the third map played out, it was like they were just fucking dead in the water. It was just a countdown until Vitality won the BO3 in both of those. I don't know what the fuck happened. And because I was rooting for MongolZ, like I was rooting for that
Okay.
storyline. I thought the storyline was crazy. I would have loved that. But yeah, I think like the realization that they could win actually fucked them because they looked like a totally different team. You have to agree with that, right? Like that last map was fucking crazy to watch.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
they shrunk.
There's a lot of I mean, I think it goes without saying that a lot of these teams, when they stack up to Vitality, just don't have even remotely the same amount of composure. And I feel like what Vitality did early on, I feel like I mean, Apex always shouts out their staff with like every single victory, practically, like their manager
Matt
and performance coach.
Yeah, all those guys, yeah.
Yeah, and even their guy that's like, I forgot his name, but he's like a guy from like Oceania. I don't know if it's from New Zealand or Australia, but he like brings them like waters with electrolytes in them and stuff like that. And he seems to be like helping with like their mental preparedness as well. Like I feel like they actually made all of these aspects work in a way where teams like, I mean, you could say, I mean, Falcons obviously had a lot of different problems, you know, in their exit here, but like when it comes to like Mouz and MongolZ and unlocking the final 10% to beat Vitality or 5%, it just feels like they're so cleared in that mental aspect that they ended up playing so much beneath themselves. And I feel that the MongolZ, like that Inferno one, like, you know, referencing the random smoke pushes and stuff like that, like they're saying that they're saying they have bad fundamentals, and then they're saying like, okay, they're just like out of their depth right now in a way that they've dropped all composure possible. So to see how big that gap is in those high pressure games between Vitality and everybody else is why they're on the 7 tournament win streak. It's why they're so dominant, because in those huge moments, it feels like Apex is an incredible captain. They have a great staff that helps them find preparedness for those kinds of moments. And when it comes to Mouz and MongolZ, like I think it also needs to be said, like I'm pretty darn sure that Mouz, of every team that was left in the top 16, they were still the youngest by age. Like their average age is not even 21 years old. So even teams that are like not even on anybody's radar, like Namiga and stuff, they're still older. Like even Legacy on their Miracle run, like they're 2 years older than the MongolZ. So like on average. So I think that some of that needs to like that needs to be addressed. That like if and it's another reason why it's like if MongolZ didn't do as well at this tournament, I'm not hitting the panic button, because I've got an incredibly young roster of raw talent that is still refining how it wants to play off of itself and how these players are going to level up in big stages. I'm glad that they had the run that they did, just because they proved to themselves they can win on stages. But even if they crash out to FaZe in the quarterfinals, I'm still giving that team time. So that's where I'm at with their mental composure. For Mouz, on the other hand, they're a lot younger than Vitality, but like there is a mental block for them right now. But they're also like 4 years younger on average than Vitality too.
I definitely agree. I actually do think all three teams had major problems against Vitality. I mean, the joke is, like, okay, so Mouz had the best map. I was better than the Legacy one, because that was the open. That map they had on Inferno was unbelievable. Like, yeah, they absolutely smurfed, fucking killed them mid. One of the only times I've ever seen Vitality look shit on their T side, and she looked kind of whack. But the problem is they then just got donked on the other two. Like, that train one especially, I know what you mean, Sean. Like, they couldn't even get the bomb down. Like, they were just getting killed, like, in the setup to the round. It was really sad. And it eventually just led to the nightmare scenario on all versions of Train, which is the CTs have won so many rounds and have infinite economy, and they're just pushing everywhere as well. So now you can't even get set up to decide to move back from somewhere to probe. So, it was shit. So I will say, it did look to me like Mouz, this is one area Vitality is also the best, in my opinion. This is the hallmark of like the best teams ever, is they have the best reset between maps. If you lose a map, it's like you would think they went into the fucking dressing room backstage and the guy from Men in Black came and used that device. They look like they don't even remember. They just got beaten. Same in the final, by the way. MongolZ had that super scrappy game where they were not like Technos winning all these 1v1s. You would never know that from map 2 and map 3. Map 2 and map 3 looked like it was the first two maps of the series, and Vitality 2-0 the series. Like, that was easy. That was light work for them. So I think that's it's insanity. And also, here's why I'm actually disappointed. I agree with all the teams. Let's go in order. Navi, you're right. The idea that they lost that second game, bro, that was right there. That game was right there for the taking.
It was there.
Yeah, and you even had players playing way better than they have for months at this point in time. But they actually looked like you almost did that thing that you can also do when you've had a great team, which is maybe you fuck around and people like wake up during the match and start to get some of their old form back and their confidence back, and they start believing they can really take a shot. And you know what? It's worked a few times, and one of their players is upset. And then suddenly the map was over and the series was over. And it's like Vitality's like, right, listen, it's been fun and everything, but let's not get silly. We have to actually get our sleep before the semis, and they just fucked off. Like, it's outrageous. The semis, like I say, Mouz, we have waited so long for you. We all cheered when you came back from that gut punch against Spirit that normally you would have folded after. Then you just fucking smurfed and won the series. So when you win that Inferno game, we're all looking. By the way, I'm primed with all my tweets, Sean, of like, fucking, they wouldn't have won if it had been the final in a BO5. But I can't even do that. They just lost in BO3. Like, what's going on? Also, by the way, you don't have to let it go to train. I don't know why anyone lets it go to train, but you won't beat Vitality on train.
I thought it was just gonna be like a brawl on train, but yeah, they just like couldn't even get the car started. You know, like they were completely stalled out on train. It was painful to see. Like I said, Torsi went 16-2 first half of Inferno. He was 1-12 first half of train. Like that turnaround. It's frustrating for me because I'm rooting for these teams. Like I want to see the fucking upset so bad.
Sure.
Like obviously I love the greatness of like a dominant team. But in the moment, I got to root for the dog. Like, I just have to. It's just fun. And, man, it was painful. Vitality's too good.
Also, I've just got to say this. The reason why the final will literally, if you're a MongolZ player, haunt you forever is because you had your miracle rounds on map 1. It was amazing that you won that map. By the way, think about this. When are you ever going to get an opening map where Ziwu doesn't get a kill on T-side? Right? If you can't win that series, bro, you're never beating Vitality. Then on game 3, he also gets carried by Mezzy and Apex. Bro, how much more do you... Like, if I'm making a bunch of wishes with a genie before the game to give me a chance, these are my first wishes. Like, Apex and Mezzy are the best fragger. Like... That, and by the way, the Inferno one is the most criminal. I can forgive the Dust 2. That was really hard. The Inferno one is criminal because, mate, did you see how many times they got onto the site or planted the bomb and they got fuck all rounds? It's insane. If you get onto the site that many times and kill the pit player, by the way, you're supposed to close those rounds like 70% of the time, 75% of the time. So I actually think you'll have nightmares about that game because by the way, you'll never face Vitality like that again. I really do think on the third map, some of the players, the Zemus of the world, maybe were starting to do that thing you do in your head where it's like, when we win this, we've won the major and we have done the year and we've got the 7th. You're starting to do that, you know. That's why people get nervous near the finish line. So I actually think the final one is even more criminal because it's like MongolZ, you had to keep that fucking energy from map 1 if you wanted to win this series, and then you didn't. Sadly, you just like bled out. It was really... I agree. The B pushes were the most depressing shit of all. People just one by one walking through a smoke like, hello, anyone in here? Like, yeah, 2 CTs, your head's banged off, mate. See ya. You fucking idiots. Vitality. What do you expect? That should be a commentator. That'd be straight fire, wouldn't it, if I just said that as he came through the smoke? I know. That's why I don't commentate, boys. Believe it or not, they like professionalism, you know. Like, get your fucking head backed off, you mad twat. What are you doing? Reel your fucking neck in. You're peeking it wrong.
Never forget the Thorin casting. What'd you cast for ESCA that one time?
Yeah. It was... Oh, no, if anyone looks it up online, really early in CSGO, me and Anders did a cast. And because at the time, by the way, I wasn't an analyst yet. I wasn't on camera. I even do all mad shit. Like, I even regret one thing. I told like a really outrageous anecdote about a certain player you remember from CS1. I won't even mention the name because I feel bad about it, Sean. It's a really... unacceptable anecdote to tell on stream, but it was like a fucking late night, 3 a.m. ESEA game. And by the way, I go wild in this one. Like, I'm talking about how like the French teams on Inferno always go under like the Vietnam area Maui because they're like little rats that used to live in the sewer and all this. It's pretty outrageous. I can't lie. It's pretty outrageous. And Anders is just enabling me the whole time. Like, and I'm just fucking bigging me up in it. And I was on like that schoolboy shit, showing off in front of everyone, being rude, you know. Which, by the way, I definitely never exploited later in my career anyway. You know, like, after that, I really nailed it down and sort of got all professional and shit. Anyway, let's move on to Maui's bad point.
Or ugly, yeah.
Oh, ugly, sorry, yeah.
It's good.
They're all bad points to me, Maui. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this one is just like, I guess I'm bringing it up more as just kind of a discussion topic, because I see some positives of it, but I also feel like it could. I mean, it's the potential in G2's new roster. Like, so they finally pulled the trigger on, or I guess it's not finally because it's still in the rumor stage, but the idea that Hunter is going to be the in-game leader, Snax is going to be out. They're going to be picking up a younger rifler, and then they're going to be going for like they're going to have the s1mple Saw combo coming in from Heroic. They're going to have MongolZ and Heavy God who are already on the team, and then Hunter is going to be the in-game leader. And I just feel like this team, it does a lot of what's ugly about it is that I actually, I was one of the people that was the hardest against Snax and Taz. I thought that was a really, really weak duo for entrusting your roster to like the tactical, the in-game strategy. I just didn't see it working. They obviously won a couple blasts, but that was when they had Nico and m0NESY on the team. And this team it's just a little strange because I find Hunter to be a guy that should have naturally moved to the in-game leader role. And I guess the rumor mill that's going on around it is it's like kind of like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing. And I just don't really, I don't really feel like the way that like an IGL should be made shouldn't be like, hey, we really just want to do this, so now you're going to do it, as opposed to a guy saying, let me do this now. And
maybe the Office Space boss coming in, hey, Hunter, I'm going to need you to IGL for a while till we get someone to kick you and replace you. Like, great, cheers.
Yeah, and I like Hunter gives a lot to the team still, but it's just tough, honestly. And that's why I'm giving it as ugly, because I feel like with Hunter becoming a first-time in-game leader, but with Saw behind him, I do have faith in it, because Saw has been one of the coaches that I've rated the highest in the space for a while now, from what he did with Heroic and Ends back in the day. I just feel like there's so many good pieces here, but for whatever reason, I just feel like this roster doesn't speak to me as like it's not a contender. I'll just put it like that. I don't see it as a true contender with the teams that we now have established as the top 4 with like Vitality, Mouz, Spirit, MongolZ, and even Falcons. So it's like it puts G2 in a weird position where I don't really see the superstar.
By the way, you didn't mention him by name, but is the rumor that you read the one that Kaspersky is going to be like the rifle? That's the rumor, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, the rumor is that the rifler coming in is Kaspersky, which is coming from Ents, and like from what I remember, at Lisa, he was pretty good. Yeah, but he wasn't blowing the socks off of me or anything like that. Like he wasn't some guy where I'm like, okay, this guy's gonna change the team or anything like that. Like there's other riflers out there who, like, for example, I would throw a name like MagnaJez out first for like a tier 1.5 guy, way before Kid Percy. But either way, like, I don't know, like to just see G2 in this holding pattern, or like the state where it's like you're a team that might make playoffs but not really. It just doesn't really inspire me with a lot of confidence. But it really to me comes down to, does Saw work really well with Hunter if that's like the IGL coach combo? So just kind of a team that's hard for me to have a very strong take about.
Yeah, that's fair enough. If the IGL isn't fully in, right, I feel like that is a big problem. Like I remember Saw, by the way, from Flashpoint.
Yeah, he was on Havli.
Right? Yeah. He was designing some crazy shit back then. So this guy definitely has a good mind for the game. But you need your IGL to be like working on how they communicate with their teammates, like how they're bringing ideas. You just have to have a different mindset. And so if someone's not fully invested in that, I think that's going to create problems. If you had to guess, are they going to be a top 10 team 3 months down the road?
10, top 10, yeah, but like not
like very fringe
not
10.
Yeah, they're like ninth, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like the star power on the team is good enough to merit a spot in the top 10 compared to the rest of the field today, but not a team. Like the thing about being a top 10 team is that it means you don't actually even make playoffs all the time. And
Yeah.
for a team like G2 that was just at the top of the game in like 2023, 2024, like I mean they were really, really good then. To see them now just be like a fringe team it's just a weird place for them to be in.
Are they like fringe in a sense of they could one off a tournament, or are they not capable of it? Because there's like top 10 teams that are just good at like beating the worst teams, and then there's top 10 teams that can punch up.
They're a team that so much of it comes down to is Hunter good at calling on T side, and do they put good strats in place? Because you'll see games nowadays with G2 where Heavy God does insane work on the CT side, MongolZ is pretty good on the T side, but then nothing else clicks, and then they don't get it over the line versus like a Furia level team. Okay, like it's just that they have difficulty even beating a team like the only teams that I feel like I can really convincingly say that they're going to be better than are teams where they're just clearing them in skill on every single level. Like Gamer Legion is a team where I feel like today the new G2 is probably going to just beat that team just because Gamer Legion don't have good enough pieces, or like a 3D Max or something like that, where like those teams might even have better strategies than G2, like a T side that looks like it makes more sense or like has more dynamics or layers to it. But then when it comes to actually like putting a cohesive half together, it doesn't always. It's like they'll just run their head into the wall on a certain idea, or there's like 4 calls that are just very bad. So that's where I'm like, I'm not like getting over the line versus elite teams is just so far out of the question for me.
No, I'm with you. I will say it because I'll actually start there. Put it this way, that's why he's picked it as the ugly, is the potential. Because there is potential, but it's really hard to see like how good it can possibly get because there's so many like moving parts that are just up in the air, like the IGL thing. You're implementing a new AWPer. If the Kaspersky guy comes, by the way, he has fuck all like tier 1 LAN experience. He did the Elisa Masters, which had a couple of good teams. That's not a tier 1 LAN. And you were the home fucking crowd. No one had any expectations you'd win, by the way. So already, right, that's a massive gamble there. Like, those people can flop when they come up, even if they're players with talent. I would say I sort of agree with you, because I actually look at the squad, and if you just consider, like, the raw skill of the 5 players, it can have a pretty high floor in that sense. I'm with you. So I'm with you. It could be a top 10 team. The problem here is this. If it's bad, it won't even be top 10. If it's really good, we're still not talking like you're going to be in the 7th. You'll probably be like 7th or 8th or something. I'm kind of with you, with that sort of level. So it's more to me like you could make a playoffs and then you lose to MongolZ, or you lose to fucking Spirit or Navi or something. I don't think you're going to suddenly leap up into playing again. And the real problem, I'll go to the players in a second, but that's the major issue. That's why it's ugly. Because, bro, you're G2. You're supposed to be the biggest esports org in the world, or at least Western esports org. You used to have championship rosters in every game. And last year, literally as recently as like 7 months ago, you were contending for every tournament, including majors. That's how good your team used to be. You used to have NiKo and m0NESY, 2 of the top 5 players in CS2. And instead, what you've done now, this is why, by the way, I could do this as a whole fucking side thing, but I won't. I'll do it very briefly. I'm getting really bored of this thing where fans on Twitter are like cheering for bags of money, but not players in the server. Like, you know, everyone goes, wow, Heroic's doing such a great job as an org. Their main function is to put players in the server and win tournaments. They are not even close. How does it help me when I watch their team, some mid-arse team, go out 9th place, go, well, at least I can sleep safe knowing they have $6 million in the bag. Spend the money on fucking players then, you idiot. So if you're G2 going, lol, haha, look how we have finessed Falcons for m0NESY. Take the money and reinvest it then, you fucking dunce. When you then go, it's all right though, guys, I've got Kaspersky coming in. That sounds like you just kept all the money yourself and then you took the tiny bit. It's a fucking money launderer, and then you spent it on like a player for 200k or something. Like, there's no way that player costs millions, does he? That's a budget option. Here's the problem. If this was an OG roster, holy fuck, you killed it, guys. There's actually good players on this one. Structure. For a G2 roster, it's like we're struggling to find, like, it could work, and I guess he could be good. And you know what? A few years ago, he had a cup of tea at the top, didn't it? Fucking hell, mate. You're G2. I'm supposed to be going. And with their announcement of s1mple and fucking Flit joining the team, partnering with Shuhei, they actually going to look towards becoming the new team and beating Vitality. You're not doing any of that. You're not doing any of that, sadly. So I think the roster's not bad on paper. Kaspersky, if that's your gamble, okay, he looked like he had a player who had some nice aim. I also heard people within Ents think he's like the potential stud of the newer players they have. Hunter, I could believe he could be an IGL, by the way. I've heard so many people in the scene tell me he's really smart and he already apparently designed all the pistol rounds for G2 before. And a bit like Nico, they both have like a good mid-round sense. So he probably always did want to be That's why the key thing is whether he did like get pushed into it or whether he was like, now it's my time to finally be the IGL. I agree with Sean. If it's the latter, if he actually wants to do it, and this is just the rest of his career, I'll give someone like that a chance. I think they could make it. If he's doing it like, well, I'll do it for 6 months and see how it goes. Those are famous last words many great players have said. It doesn't ever fucking work out pretty much. Then you've got Malbs. Look, I did tell you he's not Nico. That was very unfair that anyone thought he could be Nico, but he's still clearly a fucking skilled player, isn't he? So my question there is, can Hunter use him? If Hunter can use Malbs, well, you got a chance. Some Pious, I'm in on. There's not that many good AWPers. He's always a person who's had flair. And actually, Heavy God is just a pretty consistently decent fragger, isn't he? So again, you've got skill in this squad. By the way, that's why actually it's not just Hunter. My two biggest factors is Hunter, IGL, and it's actually the Saw factor. Saw has worked magic with so many of these rosters. I mean, he's even done it with actually bad rosters, I think. In fact, he's very rarely ever had star names. So a lot of these names, a lot better than the players he gets at the beginning of his project. So maybe if he does a great job, I do think you've got a chance to be good. But I agree, it is ugly. Because like, even our sort of best case scenario we're pitching for isn't even like we just said there, we don't even have the winning a trophy. You're G2, for fuck's sake. What is this? So, okay. One thing I will say, though, is if Hunter wants any chance to be a great IGL, he better have communication at the fucking highest level. So I reckon you should get yourself a pair of these Turtle Beach headsets, Sean. That's right. Listen, I'm smooth as fuck when I do mine. Just like these have really smooth sound. It's wonderful. So this is the Turtle Beach Stealth 700. A bit like it was a bit stealthy that Hunter became an IGL. Where the fuck did that come from? What happened to the other IGL? Anyway, you also just stealthily moved Taz out the team, didn't you? Funny how that works. See, you sort of acknowledged we were all right all that time. Anyway, back to the ad. So this Turtle Beach headset is excellent. I actually used to back in the day be a massive hater on gaming headsets. Put it this way, back in Sean's day, to be fair, his team was one of the only ones, don't say the name, that actually had a decent headset. Loads of teams back then, you remember what they all used to look like in those pictures at ESL events? They'd have headphones like this, and then they'd have a different mic and a separate head. That's because the mics were all dog shit on those headphones. Some of them were criminally bad. That's not the case with the Stealth 700s. Not only can it pop down, a bit like one of those like Skynet ones. I'm not saying it will cause the end of the world in an AI robotic technological revolution that will drive and kill every human being and hunt us to oblivion until a rebel fighting force rises up under a strong leader. It might be me. I'm a bit old at this point in time. It'll have to happen soon. Don't do it, Elon. Basically, unless that all happens, I actually think it's pretty good. Also, it's got like that AI tech in, the good AI, not the Skynet shit I was just talking about, the controllable AI before it goes HAL 9000. That cleans up the mic for you. So when you got that moron teammate who's like, it'll actually like clean some of that up for you with AI wizardry. Clearicus, Soundicus, and then suddenly you can hear this guy talking. He's probably an idiot, so you probably didn't want to hear him, but you can hear everything he's saying. Also, it has that awesome feature where you can plug it into two devices and switch between by pressing a button. And it has... it is wireless, but it also has really comfortable ear pads in it. Like it has the memory foam in it. It doesn't like crush your ears. So it's actually just dope. It's actually a really good headset, especially for the price point. I think it's actually an excellent headset. I've used it myself. It's really good. So if you want to get your own Turtle Beach, and by the way, I'm advertising the headset, but you don't have to get the headset. What you can do is go to, that's right, turtlebeach.com and use the code, it's on screen, CSGO, the game that certain analysts still think we're playing. What, for 10% off your entire, shots fired in the ad as well, for 10% off your entire order, which doesn't mean just the headphones, because if you don't know, they have like mice, keyboards, driving wheels, flight sticks and all that jazz. You can pretend you're in Top Gun, Maverick. That's 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with promo code CSGO. After you purchase, you know the drill. If they ask you where you heard about them, please say Last Free Nation or Snake and Banter. Support our show, tell them we sent you, and get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today or tomorrow or the day after. Just get them at some point in time, basically, and then you're good. And then at that point, you may die. Whatever. That's not really in the copy. That's in Minecraft again. Listen, in Minecraft, we all die eventually, don't we? Much like in life. But in Minecraft, it became our choice when it happened. So, okay. Shout out to Turtle Beach. Right, there's 1 point left in the show. And as usual, I have to have the last point, don't I? So my point, I alluded to it earlier. I did the FaZe side before. The ugly point is the s1mple situation. Where, look, I made all those jokes, but you know what? if he gets to this point of the show. I actually do also feel for players who are in the contract prison, even if you take aside all the jokes of the money and all that. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, if you want to be pro, you want to be in the server, you want to be playing. Even if you're not playing, you want to be working towards something. And if you've had this taste, you could see, mate, the life came back into his eyes when he was at that tournament. That's even why the FaZe ones were bomber. It seemed to me like he mega vibed with like Carrigan and Rain, and he was like he was on that shit where it's like, fuck, this could be like a new home for me, maybe. And all the fans are loving me too. By the way, s1mple loves it when the fucking crowd's on his side. It looked to me like he was like getting his passion for CS back again. If you hear the story that supposedly 9 days before, I think it was the Dallas event, he just got a call and then he was like, this isn't a joke, he said this. He was like, right, I'll stop drinking alcohol and I'm going to start like grinding the game. That means actually his performance at this major wasn't even close to 100%. He doesn't have time to do that. And then he went to 2 lands back to back in America with 2 slightly different lineups. And then at the major, you never got the playoffs going. I always thought the other reason why it would have been interesting if they got to map 3 is because if FaZe got past that series, he could have like warmed up into the playoffs and gotten back, gotten the feel for the game again. Whereas he obviously didn't have the feel in that game. I mean, that fucking Mirage AWP miss is like, you wouldn't even believe that's possible from s1mple. Like s1mple hits those shots tripping over in his sleep, walking to the toilet with a piss, doesn't he? So I think the fact that he's in this scenario where, if people don't know, I'll tell you the little bit that people are missing about this story. Because he's done these 2 loan periods. He did a loan to Falcons last year for about a month or so, and then he did a loan now, probably a month or so. That's because supposedly what Navi's been doing, quite shrewdly, because he has this massive contract and the buyout's probably mental. And remember, if there's still like 4 or 5 months, you don't make the buyout 200k. You want to see if someone will gamble and then just sign him for 500k or something. Then you just get extra money, don't you? So I've heard what they do is the rental fee isn't like that. The rental fee is like 100k or something mental a month. So the point is, you only rent him for 1 month because you're like, listen, if it's awesome, then I'll commit. But otherwise, a bit rich from artists at that point in time, So if that's true, the problem is I can see why Navi want to use that strategy. Listen, you can keep renting him for another month if you want, but you're not going to buy him for fucking 100, 200k. That gets you 2 months. So the problem you have there is G2 said they're not going to sign him. FaZe doesn't look like they're going to sign him. Navi doesn't look like they're going to use him. They're going to go with this Mazzy guy or whatever the fuck. So quite frankly, who's left? What teams are there left to join? So I actually do think he's in a really ugly situation right now. It's really hard to even like theory craft a team that he can go to that would be interesting for either party. So sadly, it starts to feel, and this is the biggest bomber of all for how the wager was going, like maybe he's just going to run out half this season and then just join when there's 2 months left to a team that's nice and cheap. But by then, won't all this hype have died back down? Won't we be starting the clock at 0 again? Will he be grinding? I don't know. So I feel like that's why it's ugly. It's not bad or good. It's just sort of in the middle, and I just feel uncomfortable. Not least because, yes, like you, Sean, I'm a massive s1mple stan. I want to see him back. I also want to see him back in his pomp where he's saying shit to people, just talking shit, doing that.
Bro,
business.
We had it for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
He was vibe. He actually looked like he enjoyed the game. And I agree with what you said. Like before that, I felt like he was kind of not really feeling CS2.
Yeah.
And right, like, from watching him play this guy grinded like a motherfucker.
Yes.
Like he was the GOAT because of how much work he put in. And if you lose that, you'll never get it back. But it seemed like he was really enjoying himself, especially with Kerrigan and some of those little bits. Like, man, I don't know. It's so depressing to hear all that. Because, I think he needs the right environment to motivate him to play the game a lot more. Because he'll never get back to anything like his old form if he's like dipping his feet in the CS2 pool, just thinking it's going to like magically happen. That'll never happen. But when he's forced to like boot camp with FaZe for weeks and grind the game, holy shit, he was looking really like, he was streaky. He was hot and cold, but his peaks were great. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like the peaks were like old school s1mple, it felt like at times. And I agree, it wasn't his like 100% form based on what you just said. So it's it's definitely pretty ugly. Good show.
What people may not be able to relate to about s1mple and people in positions like s1mple is that there are a billion things at any given second that are vying for s1mple's attention. And some of them are shinier than playing Counter-Strike. Okay, like if you're a man of s1mple's status, clout, even money and fame, you could be out doing billion different things with other influencers, heads of countries, like heads of states. Like people want your presence around them. And so if whoever from, like, let's just say someone from Saudi Arabia wants to hang out with s1mple and fly him over for a weekend to Riyadh, like, and they're going to pay him some exorbitant amount, he's not going to play Face It that weekend, okay? But he needs a team that is actually going to be, encouraging him, bringing him in, treating him like one of the boys, and then he can relive those kinds of experiences. That's why the come up on FaZe was actually pretty interesting. Like, he actually did better, in stage 3 of the major than he did in stage 2 of the major. Like, he was powering up because he needs just more reasons to stay involved. And so, like, if he had a team for this 6 months, I actually now have been converted. I've been converted. I think s1mple could reclaim 95% of the power, maybe even 100 of what he once was. But if there is no team and he's just supposed to, through his own discipline, sit on Face It, I'm sorry. Like, I don't think he's gonna do it. Like, I just don't think that he is actually he's not gonna, like, tell his girlfriend to shoo away. He's not going to stop driving the Lambo. He's not going to stop hanging out with, like, princes, okay? He's not going to get off the cruise ship or the yacht. He's going to do all those things, okay? Like, all of us would want to do those things, okay? Like I would rather do a lot of things than play Face It, even as a professional player. Like you work so hard to gain the status that s1mple now has baked into the next 10, 20, maybe the rest of his life. And so he's reaping all of the rewards from that at all points in time, as long as there is no team that is facilitating his growth back to becoming the player that he once was. So yeah, it sucks that he's not going to actually take that time, probably. And I don't blame him. I don't think that he's going to sit on Face It for the next 6 months and play a donk level of pugs every single month. Like, he's got way too much in life to live for around him now. So for him to not be on FaZe immediately, one, we've already talked about FaZe. Two, I just don't think that. I think that s1mple's gonna then probably take a couple steps back, and maybe after his contract with Navi completely ends, he's gonna have to take the steps forward once again. But it's just gonna be a relearning process once again.
Basically, we need you to do all the things you're doing now, but in CS. Like, the only boat you need to care about is if you're on DE Boat Season 2C. The only fucking car you need to care about is that one on G-Pathon 2K, isn't it? The only girl you want to be trying to talk to is if you hear someone with a high-pitched voice on comm speak and you go, "Are you Grill?" and it's just a 14-year-old boy in the end, and you go, "Oh, well," and just bang the enemy's head off, innit? And the only money that you need to worry about in the bank is start money, motherfucker. And it's a 16k cap in this game.